gearing up for war, don't get it mixed up. I come in peace, kid. I'm bringing commentary and the new releases. I put them hours in to get prepared now. We play on expert level, don't get scared now. I'ma destroy you on a force and I can tear it down. If you ain't tuned into the channel, keep your head down. Cut the fix up with some Xbox babies, put the switch up. See me gearing up for war, don't get it mixed up. I come in peace, kid. I'm bringing commentary and the new releases. I put them hours in to get prepared now. We play on expert level, don't get scared now. I'ma destroy you on a force and I can tear it down. If you ain't tuned into the channel, keep your head down.
Look in my eyes. What do you see? The cult of personality. What's up, guys? Welcome to The Fix. You're here with myself, Infinite Umbra. I am your host, and I am joined by my co-host, Daniel McGee.
Hey, everybody. Sorry for the late start. We had some technical difficulties, and also down here in Texas, we've got fog that is thicker than
molasses.
Thicker than molasses. You had to cut through that bitch. It's rough.
Thicker than a Snicker, moving. If you will. Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. Thank you guys for being here in the chat. Appreciate you guys. I will shout you out later on, but and we are joined tonight by two of esteemed guests. We've had one gentleman here with us before, our brother OBM. OBM, what is up, my brother?
I am good. It's good to talk to you guys again, man. Been having last few weeks. Haven't been really making any appearances anywhere because, just the holiday stuff, all over, plus work stuff, end of the year. So, but it's nice. It'd be nice just to therapeutically just get caught up on things, and I always appreciate you reaching out, man.
Yeah, no question, man. Thank you for joining us again. Of course, we always love your takes and your information you bring in, just your general wisdom, and of course, the legendary, the esteemed, the outstanding. I got to do it in your voice, Boom. The outstanding, Mr. Boomstick XL. Boom, brother. Thank you for joining us. Your first time with us tonight. I mean, yes. we chop it up all the time, of course. I mean, we're part of the Xbox Factor with you, myself and Danny, and but your first time joining us, luckily, Mrs. could allow you to get free tonight and join us, man. Thank you for joining us, brother.
No, it's an honor to be here. Like I said, I as much as I would love to guest in the evenings, normally those are reserved for Mrs. Boom because she works all day. But she came home, she was she's a little tired, so she's just chilling in the room. And obviously, to be fair, I kind of owed this because we've been trying to get this for me to be on the show since you guys actually started. So it's great to be here. I mean I gotta tell you, we're gonna chop it up real well because there is a lot to get into. I mean, we're almost at the end of the year. We are literally one evening away from the last 31 days of the year, and you know what's crazy? The news hasn't stopped. In fact, it feels like the faucet has broken off, and it's just news after news after news, and man, we got a lot to get into.
Absolutely. It's funny because I had an entirely different thumbnail and everything else set up for the show. It was going to be tax time and all of that, talking about the Xbox tax, and that was going to be kind of the lead thing because it was the most relevant news. But it had been done to death. To be fair, all of us on these these podcasts have been talking about it, and at this point, it started to feel like beating a dead horse, right? So I was happy to see that we got some more relevant news today. I will say, thank the gaming gods, Xbox, of course. Had it not been for Xbox, man. Oh, can you imagine trying to do a PlayStation podcast throughout this drought they've had?
Dude,
man.
No. Week after week of talking about layoffs.
Exactly. Layoffs in Xbox.
It's been brutal. I put it to this way. I said this before. I think honestly, when you sit back and you kind of put pen to paper, and you just go from 2023 day one, which is January 1st, to where we are now, there is no doubt that PlayStation has had probably one of its worst years in franchise history. Like I think it's gotten so bad for PlayStation that it might be as bad as the 2006 hack, and then some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they did also get hacked this year, so
True.
That is true.
That is true. Yeah, man. It has been a dry spell for them. I guess if you go back to some of the years back for Xbox, I guess it would have been the same situation, right? So I guess we have to give kudos to those that came before us who weathered those storms too,
Oh yeah.
So
I can't imagine having an Xbox podcast in 2013.
Oh man, that would have been hurt. That would have been harmful right there, trying to cover that and just been downtrodden and beaten as we talk about the news. But the good thing is about us here in the Fix is that we talk about all things in media, so we would have been fine. but
100%.
yeah, but other people who did it, those are the soldiers who, the Dirk Griggities and the Tim Dogs and all of those guys who had to weather that. So shout out to those two in particular. But yeah, Godspeed soldiers. So boom, I guess I'll go around the table here and just kind of get an idea for what you guys have been up to. Boom, what have you been up to as far as gaming or movies, TV shows, et cetera, et cetera? What have you been up to, brother?
Well, for me, I'm back in Hogwarts. I'm 75% done with the game. I am literally just mopping up, finding all of the different, challenges. I'm about to open up the last part of the map, get that last fast travel open. I believe there's an achievement for that. I have, I think, 2 or 3 left of the star charts that I have to do the puzzle. I'm 5 days into it. Now I know why this is one of my favorite games of the year. It's right alongside Starfield. It's this open world, and I think that's all I've been really playing. Honestly, it's just taking up all my time, and I'm very happy for it.
Yeah, definitely. So let me ask you then, since you've been playing Hogwarts, has your view changed now on the whole thing with them being snubbed the way they have been, or what's your thinking on that?
Look, someone, whether it be Jeff Keighley or a significant amount of the 120 judges, had to make the decision that this game was too hot politically to touch. And my issue with that is ignoring a game like if this game comes out after the so-called deadline, like let's say the first Jedi Fallen Order did, and you want to use that as your excuse, or we couldn't get it in because of the deadline, blah blah blah, whatever, that's fine. This game came out in the beginning of the year, and what is aggravating, what is sickening as a human being is, regardless of what your personal thoughts on, whether you agree or disagree with Rowling, she is just the IP owner. She literally had nothing to do with this game. So ultimately, you are punishing the hundreds of developers that made a game that, by all rights, should not be half as good as it is. This game excels on so many levels. It is bonkers.
Yeah.
And if you are a fan of the books, if you're a fan of the films, which I didn't read the books, I enjoyed through the films, and I've watched the films 12 times each. This Hogwarts Legacy captures the feel of magic and wonder unlike anything before it. And I've said this before. I've said it on my show. I will say it on your show. Anyone responsible for taking the shine away from this game because you were afraid of some political backlash, you are a coward. And if this is a Jeff Keighley thing, and Jeff, and you don't see me because I'm off camera, I would tell you to your face, you are a coward. If you were responsible for taking the work of hundreds of people and literally wiping it off the page as if it never existed, you should be ashamed of yourself, and he should be removed. Me personally, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If I was Xbox and I saw this happening, because this is the Game Awards, which means that you're supposed to celebrate gaming and you're supposed to celebrate the people that make the games. How do you sleep at night?
Yeah.
Knowing that you completely have taken this game off the board because you are afraid of someone calling you a political name or something. That to me is just hogwash. I gotta tell you.
Hogwash for Hogwarts, absolutely.
I was gonna say the same thing.
What
I swear to God, you beat me to it.
what a literary great way to put it. You know, I'm with you on that. I think it's I don't know if I'll say cowardice. I just think it's deplorable in the sense that it shows a lack of integrity. And what it does is, and we've said this on your show, that it creates this obvious schism that we can start to really believe the theories we've had in our heads. Now it's not so much conspiracy theory to believe that they could, try to hold something against a game or a public publisher or something like that. That's the biggest problem.
Got some interesting news that someone just sent to me. So the players, it's very relevant to this exact conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The Players Voice Award for the Keeleys.
Yeah.
Phase 2 of it started today, right? So phase 1 was like 2-3 days ago, I forget exactly, and it had 30 games that you could vote on for like Player's Choice Game of the Year. Most of which shouldn't have been in there because a lot of them were just like ongoing things, like Fortnite was in there, or Genshin was in that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's narrowed down to 10 now, and Hogwarts is in that 10. Starfield is not. So,
wow.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still lacking of integrity though, right? And that's the thing. Like the one thing I give, and I said this the other day when me, you, and Danny, and on the show, Boom, and C Money, of course. I said that the thing I like about you guys is that we give real, genuine takes. We hold ourselves to integrity. Same thing with people like K Asante. Same thing with Everborn. Our brothers in this thing is that we're not saying whatever we say just to make somebody feel good. We're going to say what we really believe. So for them to hold that against that, it creates this lack of integrity, this lack of truth. We know this is not a real thing, that it was not nominated. You all held something against it. And that just comes off as unfair and ultimately, nasty to us as people who of integrity. I think that's the biggest issue. By the way, I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat, but I first will go to our second guest, of course, and that is OBM. OBM, what have you been playing and what have you been getting into lately as far as movies and TV shows or whatever it may be?
Oh yeah, that's always different. I forget we gotta usually bring up the TV stuff. And usually I the thing. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Usually I don't watch very much TV because if I do have time or I'm not taking care of the kids or doing something for work or spending time with the lady, all that stuff. It's like, well, I'm going to use it on my backlog. Is generally how I approach it. Yeah. I did watch. I did sit down and watch Gen V finally. The spinoff.
The spinoff.
For the boys.
They're reportedly doing another one it's like in Mexico or something. I forget what the exact phrasing on it was. Let me see.
They're doing another spinoff on it, huh?
Another the boys spinoff in Mexico.
Wow. I still haven't watched it yet though, by the way, the V.
Oh, you haven't? Oh yeah, it's not as good, but it was entertaining enough, I guess. So
okay.
So I'm glad I watched it. We'll see if they tie any of that stuff into the main show. I wouldn't necessarily like rave about it or say you gotta watch it like the boys obviously was in a different level.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I did watch Invincible, which is I guess maybe.
I love Invincible.
The thing is, I'm not like Mr. Superhero guy. I know like a lot of you guys are. I'm not like a Super Marvel fan. I'll watch it if it's on, but it's not like a major thing. But for some reason, I just like these messed up ones. Invincible's pretty. Those are both definitely messed up. So I don't know. They just they capture my attention. Just because they're different, right? They're different. Just things we didn't grow up seeing that combination of superheroes doing those
and violence and such and extremes. Yeah.
See, I haven't watched The Boys yet because I've read the comic, and the comic is awful. But everyone keeps telling me like the show is so much better, and I believe it must be for it to be as popular.
It's pretty good
because that comic is terrible.
I don't know.
Gotten around to it.
Yeah.
I read some summaries on the comics. I haven't really didn't read them page by page or anything, but the show's definitely worth it. So besides that, and you probably already can guess, Umbra, one of the things in my rotation is always Halo.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So
man of culture here.
Halo's been good. Halo's good. I've been good lately, and really enjoying some of the things they added to that. And aside from that, I picked up Baldur's Gate again, which you jumped
back on it. Okay.
Yeah, so I started that when it dropped initially on Steam way back when, and played for 80 hours, and then Starfield hit.
Oh
and
wow!
After 170 hours of Starfield, I couldn't remember where I was in Baldur's Gate. Like I kept turning it on. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't.
That's the problem with those types of games. You get into that and you try to step away to another game. You have to like relearn things again.
Yeah, it is. It was a challenge at first. I think it took me like 5 tries to finally. I sat down one day. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna wander everything. It just kind of, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that now. And then, like, you look back at some of the conversations that came back to me. So now I put in another 30 hours into that, and it's re-clicked. And when it does come to Xbox in a week, I suggest anybody who's a fan of Western RPGs to give it a shot. It definitely is it's I think for a lot of console gamers, it's gonna throw them off a bit.
It's a little different, right?
Yeah, it's turn-based. I think it works well on a controller, though. I actually played on a controller, which I think is unique.
I've heard so. By the way, they had a big update for that today too. By the way, I just saw. It's like a lot of quality of life things like that. A bunch of good stuff. A new epilogue thing added. A bunch of things added to it. I guess they're really going for that game of the year. But I was going to say, as far as the boys, Danny, absolutely, you need to get on that, brother. That's a good show. Very violent, kind of like the comic in that sense. The comic was, I think, more edgy, I guess, for the sake of edginess. But it's really good though.
Yeah. It was like a wannabe sort of like Watchmen.
It was
situation.
Yeah, it was for sure. I was going to say. So Danny, what have you been up to as far as gaming and things like that go before we move on? And I'll say my bit too.
So honestly, I've been spending most of my free time just writing, because for some reason, just like the fall winter season makes me want to write all the time. So that's what I've been doing most of my time. I did also finish, I think because last week we weren't here because of Thanksgiving.
Right.
So, or at least I wasn't here. So we did, in that time, I finished Jasant, which I thought was pretty good.
Oh, you finished? Okay, nice.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I definitely probably would not have played it if it wasn't in Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I'll be thinking about it much afterwards. But it was good enough. Like I had fun with it. And then I did the Dead Space remake because I was like, I want to test this out. Played through that whole thing real fast. I am a big fan of the changes that they made in that game. I know a lot of people prefer a silent protagonist. I don't. So I'm glad that he can talk and react and be like, hey, the stuff that's happening on this spaceship, this is some bullshit. This is some bullshit. Like, this is not good. It's really good. I like the way that they changed some of the story beats to sort of make more sense. The fact that you actually have to find your weapons in the game instead of like just buying them from a kiosk. There's a lot of smart little changes in that just makes it feel a lot more immersive and spooky, and I really like it a lot. I think it's really good.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, but as far as myself, man, I had obviously the game you guys see on the screen right here, Final Fantasy 16. They had a sale going on this past week or weeks, whatever it's been on PlayStation. It's crazy how untouched that PlayStation 5 has been for me. But I had also programmed my ROG Ally to be able to play it on the go. So I got the Chiaki installed on my it's a program called Chiaki that you can install so that you could do port forwarding and play it on the go outside of your network. it didn't work quite well off my network, but it does work on the handheld, so it works perfectly fine. I just have to figure out how to do the port forwarding right. But man, this is actually an interesting game, but it is not without its faults. And one of the biggest faults I see with this game that I've played, I'm about 45% through, maybe a bit more now. It is a ton of cutscenes. I mean, like you can,
big time.
Man, I was like blown away by how many cutscenes there were. I'm like, okay, this is a lot. Like
that does lighten up further into the game, but man, that first, honestly, probably like 4 or 5 hours. It's just like you're watching this.
Tons. And also the world is just kind of uninteresting. I hate to say it like that, but it's got beauty in it. Don't get me wrong. Visually, it's kind of nice looking, but it's just there. You're just roaming around in this big open area, running around it, and you run into some enemies here and there. It's just kind of like the combat is okay. It's not Devil May Cry level. It aspires to be, and clearly the gentleman that worked on Devil May Cry, so you can get the influences, but it lacks. It's lacking, I would say, in some ways, until you get more powers. Then it becomes a little bit more robust, and it becomes a bit more fun. So I am enjoying the combat. I am enjoying the boss battles because that has been pretty epic. I will give them credit there, and the music has been really solid. So I do like that as well. I do see the Game of Thrones attempt that they went for here and there is pretty evident, but it's not quite to the level of that. But yeah,
the main character is just Jon Snow.
Exactly. He's literally him. He's literally
the older brother who isn't part of the proper bloodline, or like didn't get the special power, and then it's like, oh, but secretly he's got this secondary bloodline of fire running through his veins, and then it's like, oh no, my family's getting screwed over, so I gotta go join a group of people who wear black and call themselves the Bastards,
like the Watch. How coincidental.
Bro, it's like the most one-to-one.
It is
like y'all didn't even try to hide this.
Even his hairstyle is Jon Snowish.
He's even got the dog.
He does have the dog. I forgot about that. And she's basically Cersei, her right here. And so it's like, well, the mother is kind of that too, to be fair. It's kind of Cersei-ish. That mother's trash. But I will say, if you can get the game for cheap at I got it for what, $40, $41, whatever, some tax. If you can get it cheaper, I would absolutely recommend getting the game and playing it. I don't think you all would hate it, but it's not. It definitely didn't deserve a Game of the Year nod. I will say that. I'm content that it's not there as far as that goes. So I would guess I'm kind of in the 7.5 range out of 10 right now.
It's not bad. 7.5 is not a bad score.
Yeah, it's not a bad score at all, I think. Other than that, man, I had, have you guys all seen Squid Games?
No,
yes.
That's one I have not seen.
Okay, so I would definitely recommend it. It's interesting. But so they have a spin-off thing, a TV show, like a game show where people compete.
Real.
Exactly, where people compete against each other and actually go against each other with actual stuff that happened in the show. And
Did you hear?
What happened?
So because they actually have to stay in the barracks there, like they try to make it very true to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it was so cold and dry in the barracks that they were staying in that people's lips were chapping super hard, and there wasn't any chapstick or lip balm or whatever in their care kit. So some of the people in the barracks were using lubricated condoms to moisten their lips. Up until the production team found out, and they were like, let's get these dudes some stuff.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
No.
Nice.
Ribbed for your pleasure of your lips.
Gotta get that exfoliation going.
Oh, that sounds terrible. It's been an interesting show. It's got it plays on a lot of what you saw in the movies or miniseries or whatever, if you will. But I watched all of that up to episode 9. I think it's one more episode they're going to upload, and that's it. So they get down to the last 3. It's been interesting. And I also watched Rurouni Kenshin, the beginning.
The
the
original
other day.
or the like remade one?
So they got the original one that came out of 2014. Then they had the beginning, which is a prequel.
Uh-oh.
So
you said the beginning, I thought you meant from like episode 1.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either. So I had just found out that was made in 2021. So the beginning is 2021. The first one was 2014. So the beginning is the prequel. Really solid overall. I still think the 2014 is better. And then there are 3 other movies in the series I got to check out. So really good. 3 of the movies are on Netflix, but it's disjointed because it has the beginning, the first movie, then it skips to the final movie. So yeah, but just in case you guys want to check it out, I think you would like it. And I guess that'll be it for us on that. Let's move to this news roundup and talk about what's currently going on in the news.
Kesante asked a very important question in the chat, which is, why did the show have lubricated condoms? Like, why did
you know what?
Give them that in the barracks, but not chopstick?
I didn't even think to ask that.
Important question.
I didn't even think to ask that. That's the messed up part. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, they just use condoms. That's not good.
It's like one
but
big
didn't
room,
think
I
why.
assume. It's like the Squid Games, like the Netflix show. So it's like, ain't nobody boning in there. You're not doing that. You're not seeing.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, they're going in the kitchen and doing what we can't see.
I guess so. Anyway, so the news round. So the first thing I got here is apparently GTA 6 is looking to drop a trailer any day now, potentially even tomorrow, according to some leaks. So that could be really big news. I wish they would have done it one day earlier so we could have talked about it.
That would have been nice.
But oops. I feel like I have almost, like, I don't know what my thing is. I don't have any hype for GTA 6. Like, I know it's going to be the biggest thing whenever it comes out. It's going to win every award that year. And yet I'm sat here and I'm like, yeah, it sure is. It's going to be a thing, huh?
Yeah.
Like, I can't muster the energy to be, like, excited.
Did you care for part 5?
Not really. I thought it was fine. It was one of those things where I was like, this is a really fun game to play. I didn't care about the narrative at all. Like, I didn't like, the only of the protagonists that I liked was Franklin, and even him, he was kind of like vanilla. Like, he's pretty boring. Yeah. I didn't like Michael, and Trevor made me want to die. So I hate Trevor so much. I really, really do.
Trevor was funny, but he was very over the top.
He was, I didn't care for his character.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I am looking forward to this one, I think, but it's like, I don't know. I think part of me is like, I know it's going to shut the world down when it comes out.
Oh yeah.
And I just like don't care enough.
Well, it's almost impossible to be a gamer, especially like a gaming enthusiast, and like not fall for the zeitgeist every time. Like, I end up buying Rockstar games every time. Yeah. Every time they come out. I play them for 10 to 20 hours. You know, I go through the story for the beginning, and then I venture off and just start doing stupid stuff. And then like 20 hours in, it's like, I don't know, like I get lost somewhere in the middle, and
you just lose interest.
I like for whatever reason, those types of games, every single time it does that. And it's usually, I mean, I think if you don't get sucked into the world of the story, I think that's part of a Rockstar game. Because for me, and maybe this is blasphemous for some people, for me, the gameplay is always just kind of okay. It's not bad. It's just not.
You know what I'll say is, for a game called Grand Theft Auto, I think the driving is pretty bad.
Yeah, the driving is bad, you know. And when I was in, you know, and even Red Dead 2, you know, like I did not really enjoy the
I got up to the 6th chapter, and I was like, "Yep, I'm out."
So I didn't want to comb my hair, my hair's tail, you know.
Wait, are you talking about for Red Dead, or are you talking about for Grand Theft Auto?
For Red Dead, and the reason why I never finished Grand Theft Auto 5 for me was, I was playing it on the 360, and then the Xbox One version came out, and I was like, well, I want to get this. And you can only transfer over your data for online, which I don't play. So I was like, okay, no. I never finished it.
Wow. What were you saying on that part, though, OBM?
You know, like, it was just like, I don't mind a game that slows down. I just beat Alan Wake. Actually, we didn't talk about that. I didn't mention that. I forgot. Yeah. I forgot because I played it on the Epic Store. So I was like looking through my games, and I'm like, because I got the souped up PC. I had to try the ray tracing on it. Yeah. Which was, by the way, that was amazing. You know, and that has a lot of slow parts. And some parts of that game, it's almost like a walking sim. But they do such a great job, like pulling into the world, and you just kind of really, you know, every little thing you find has some meaning to it, you know, especially since everything is, every resource matters in that game. But like when I play something like Red Dead, you know, and if I'm not, because I'm not super into Westerns, and I do like gangster movies, but for whatever reason, GTA just doesn't really it doesn't give me the, I don't know. It doesn't pull me in like the Sopranos used to, or like you know, I don't know. Hell, like any of those gangster movies. It doesn't really have this. It doesn't have the pull in terms of the world for me. And so like I just find myself as just a video game. They just tend to be a little bit just a lot of, you do a lot of different things, but none of them feel like extra special or extra fun.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. That's to me. I know I'm a party pooper when it comes.
You know, it is what it is. I got to say though, you all are blaspheming against the Red Dead gods to say that though.
Yeah.
I love that game with a passion.
I will say Red Dead is probably the only Rockstar game. Well, Red Dead 2 is the only Rockstar game that I was like, I get it. Like I understand the hype for this game. I love that game.
Yeah.
All the other Grand Theft Autos, I play them and I'm like, yeah, this is a game.
You know what did it, Danny?
It took how many years to make this? What?
I think I think what did it? That's a good boy. I think that's what did it. That's a good boy.
Like cowboy. I like how real that world felt.
Felt very real. Felt very realized.
Can't imagine. I don't know. I guess there's something also to it of like, if I'm gonna put myself into a world where I'm gonna like sort of role play as this new character
in a world,
I don't want to just be like some dude who's getting cucked in LA. You know what I mean? Like that's not
like
doing
Michael.
It for me.
Yeah. No, I get it, but you know, it is what it is on that.
To be fair though, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. Like if somebody wants to know an opinion on an open world game, I like big Western RPGs, so like I can play those all day. But when it just comes to like anything, and I know everybody on this panel here likes their open worlds. I know all your tastes, but like Assassin's Creed, same thing. I can't get past 20 hours in any of those games before I fall off.
It depends on which one, but like the only ones that did it for me so far was Unity. Unity was the only one where I stopped and was like, nope, and haven't finished.
I can't finish any of them. And I know like Boom, I know you played that for like 1 million hours, but you know, like, and then even like all the Sony map games, like, like God of War's game design works for me because it's not like super open chasing a bunch of icons, but all that other stuff, man, just running around. The only one that's and I don't even think it's a true like open world, would like Elden Ring is one of my favorite games ever, but that's more of an RPG. So if I'm going around and I'm leveling up and I'm finding different builds and all that other stuff, that's fun. But I'm the wrong person to ask, so sorry for pooping.
No, hey, you just giving you speaking your truth. That's all we can ask for. Before we move to the next relevant news, I want to read these super chats and get them out of the way. I want to give a special shout out to Lord Starkiller, by the way. Lord Starkiller, you are spectacular, brother. And I was blown. You know how sometimes it's the smallest things that really, really get you when you're doing the things you do and that you're passionate about, guys? Well, Lord Starkiller here, to his credit, when he says he rocks with you, he rocks with you. I would go back, and because I often go back to hear how we spoke on things and to, better myself and to how I would address things in the future going forward. I always look to what I did to try to improve. And I will see Lord Starkiller popping up in our chat, not in our chat, but in the comment section well after the show is over. And he'll be chiming in on the entire show. Bit by bit, he'll make a comment about whatever section and he'll give his thoughts. He'll make a comment about another section to give his thoughts. And whether he agrees or disagrees, he'll say what he feels about it. And he has done that for a bunch of our shows. And I really appreciate that. Like, he really listens. Like, I really appreciate that. It's good
to see it.
Yeah.
First of all, we like to hear your opinions, but then also, like, it's really good for the algorithm and engagement for that.
True.
So it's just like, we love it across the board.
It's a W all over. And then he'll sometimes drop I think they call it a super thanks in the comment section. He'll drop a $5 super thanks. I'm just like, wow, I'm blown away by that. So I really appreciate you, brother. He drops, as Boom would say, a stupendous $5 super chat. He says, would like to see a Hellblade 2 update or perhaps a mid-gen Xbox console announced at the VGAs. Thanks for the great chill intro music, Umbra. Yes, sir. You are welcome. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. And my Chi-Town brother, Adidas 20, he drops a $10 magnificent super chat. Shout out to Boom for the way I'm speaking. I can't believe IGN sent me an invite to the Pony Club today on IG. They are really running out of narratives to use. Xbox is cooking. Uncle Phil taking horseshoes. All right. Yeah, Uncle Phil's taking these horseshoes, man. So what did they send you an invite to join the Pony Club? Did they send it like with a unicorn or something? What was it on there? I want to know more about these details. And
I bet you it was a mag showing up as Pony Master 4 naked.
Yeah, with the PlayStation 5 in front of him.
Unicorn in the lower regions.
With the PS5.
Take Boom's word for it. Don't look it up.
Yeah, don't look it up.
You won't be able to unsee it.
Trust me, you don't.
It'd be like boy of SpongeBob. My eyes start pouring bleach into him. Shout out to Mag. Bold Alpha Wolfpack. He drops a magnificent $9.99 super chat. I'm sorry, Boom. I'm waiting on Umbra. Word is bond. Better be cooking up some good wild takes. He has tried. Now he's bribing me to make sure I give good wild takes, Danny. Danny is the man for this. He's the one you have to go to.
Trying to get you to play WoW.
He is, and he wants me to really give a full realized take. But see, like the thing is, Alpha Wolfpack, I would have to really, really get into that thing.
He's gonna have to go.
And the only time I'll do that, for months. And that thing is going to have to come to console before I really do that. Invest. I can, the crazy thing is I can actually play it on my PC, no problem. But I just prefer the console. It's hard to say. I don't know how else to put it.
World of Warcraft, not a particularly demanding game on PC. And they do that on purpose, obviously, because they want to be able to run on whatever potato rig people got.
Right.
So you could, honestly, you could probably play it on like whatever mobile thing you're taking with you.
I'm pretty sure. That's a good point. I actually probably played off the ROG. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I'm pretty sure. It's a Windows PC pretty much. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what controller support looks like on it because I haven't.
It's pretty solid.
Ever tried.
It's pretty solid. Yeah, it's pretty solid. It's pretty robust, and you got a lot of options to add, controls to whatever. Like they do key mapping and all that stuff too. So it's really in depth. But I'm waiting for it to come to console. Blood Alpha Wolfpack. When it comes to console, I promise you, I will jump into it. And I'll get Danny to really explain some of the lore if I don't understand it too. And we'll give you a real
Who's this character
robust.
And then gets 3 paragraphs.
Right. That is Lord Farquhar. Yeah, I definitely will. I promise. And I might even do a review for it, a fixed review.
In the 4th age, he was the king of men.
He was the man of kings. And Lord Starkiller drops another $5 super chat. He says, simple business logic. The hooved ones don't get. Microsoft bought ABK for Xbox growth, not to go third party. That's absolutely correct. We will touch on that later on, though. But yeah, I figured I would play devil's advocate on that. So if you guys hear me chiming in on that, don't think that I'm actually believing they would ever go third party. Of course not. Not right now.
It's just ridiculous. The narrative changes that the people are trying to make. And I would even dare say the mental gymnastics that they're trying to work out at every angle. Xbox third party. I'm saying this today. No one spends $80 billion in 3 years between ABK, and of course Bethesda to then go third party. Come on, guys.
Right. It's stupid. It's silly on its head. So you're absolutely correct. But we'll get into it in a while. But I do want to have a different way I want to take it because we all know the answer is like ridiculous. It's no. Right. And I was just funny because I hit Danny up about that and I was like, well, what about this third party thing? And he said pretty much exactly what I was thinking was like, yeah, we could chime on it, but my comment would basically be like, no, that's not going to happen.
No.
The end.
It's ridiculous. I was like, I don't know how much more I can say about that other than like, no.
All right. So I figured I would try to approach it in a different angle just so we can talk on it. Boom, you summed it up pretty well. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but I think I have an interesting take on it. I encourage you guys to give up a thought on that too in your own way. You can come up with something. But to our brother Kay Asante, he drops a $5 super chat. Thank you, Kay. He says, salute to the chat and amazing panel. Everyone should seek out and rewatch the Halo 2 table read. Your boy Umbra murdered it. Yeah,
that's a good thing, right?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Right. Yeah, it's like saying, yeah, she's bad. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing when they say it that way. Yeah, no, thank you, Kay. I appreciate it. Kay has been very encouraging.
Let's hope that leads to a potential actual job.
I would love it. I would love it. But you know what? The problem is I've been procrastinating to be fair. I could have been really pursuing that more than I've been doing. And I've been kind of half-assing that. So I think the encouragement I got from Kay when he first hit me up about that really made me stop and kind of take some, look into myself like, why am I not really going for that? I could really pursue that, I think. And I had a ridiculously good time doing that, by the way. If you all have not seen that, I have it on my timeline linked to the YouTube channel for the Halo 2 table read. We're talking about doing other types of reads, maybe for Mass Effect. I suggested that. And other games. So stay tuned and, come by and support us if you can. I played Tartarus for those who didn't come by to see it. And, oh, man, I loved it. I loved it. My faith is strong. I will not fail. I loved it.
Dude, it sounded like just like the game, honestly.
Really good stuff. Good,
actually. Thank you. Yeah. I enjoyed it, man, so much.
It was your normal voice. I didn't hear you change.
Yeah.
I get it. What you sound like.
I get it. What else do we have in the news, Danny?
That's like when Ben Affleck plays all of his movies, and he's always Ben Affleck, no matter what role he's in.
Or The Rock in anything, where it's like, we want The Rock to play this character, and he's like, The Rock's gonna play The Rock.
Yeah, right. You're gonna love it.
Yeah. So here's a potentially spooky one, depending on how it goes. ReedPop, who is not only the person or the group that runs PAX, I think, but the owner of many journalistic, video game journalistic sites, is looking to sell those off. I guess for whatever reason, maybe they're not making the money they need them to, but they're specifically the names that are being thrown around as being sold are Eurogamer, GamesIndustry.biz, VG247, and Rock Paper Shotgun. So I don't know what other ones they own. Those are the ones that are being named in the headlines. There might be other ones. It's unclear to me currently if they're looking to sell them as like a group or separately. But ironically,
Cliff Davis should probably buy them so they can just corner the market in
just go for it. Yeah.
Xbox tax.
Ironically, if you type in ReedPop selling Eurogamer or whatever into Google to find the article, like I just did, the first one that comes up is from GamesIndustry.biz, who is another one of the people being sold. So it's a little bit like putting the for sale sign on the back of your car. But yeah, it's spooky. I hope that these people, that this doesn't result in a bunch of layoffs. It almost certainly will, but I hope it doesn't. I don't really follow a lot of Eurogamer or really know what Rock Paper Shotgun is, but I will say GamesIndustry.biz specifically, their podcast is phenomenal. They do these really short hit podcasts whenever like something big happens, and they're always really insightful and really intelligent. And I hope that they come out the other side of this unscathed, because I would like to continue having that podcast for myself.
And which one was this?
The GamesIndustry.biz one.
Oh, okay.
They don't do a podcast like every week. It's usually just like when something happens.
Like hot topics.
Whenever they do. Yeah. Whenever they do, it's always worth a listen. And they're short too. They're like 20, 30 minutes.
Okay.
So, but it's spooky. Yeah. It's like, I don't know where this is going to go. If it's going to be a situation where like, it is one of those weird things to think about where it's like, who owns the journal, like the websites that you go to for news, and like how does that affect the way that news on those sites is being reported? Because that's something that really needs to be looked into, especially in terms of things like video game news, where it's not really looked at as like a serious news source. It's not like, I don't know, like a CNN or something or whatever, where it's like they're reporting on political stuff. So it is the kind of thing where like you could potentially buy one of these companies and just completely bury whatever story you wanted, right? Or drum up whatever false story you wanted very easily, because they're not held to the same standards as traditional news sites. And so I don't know. It's something that we're gonna have to keep an eye on of where these things go, and the previous business dealings of whoever ends up buying them has had.
It's so odd. I always feel like, am I gaming enough? Am I enough of a gaming fan? Because with these ReedPop things and stuff like that, and gaming paraphernalia, I don't have anything when it comes to that. I don't have like a Master Chief helmet. I want to get one though, but I don't have any of these things. The closest I have is a poster of Pac-Man and and the ghosts around him. It's actually a dope poster, by the way. But other than that, I got controllers and stuff like that. It's like I am so
Pac-Man's
bare
sitting on the
bones.
couch and all the ghosts are behind him. With
Yeah, right.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Right.
Do we have the same poster?
You're right, but it's like that's the only thing I have. Like, but everybody else, I got the Reed Pop figures and this, and I got the statues. I don't know. Am I the odd man out here, guys? I don't know.
I think you are, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I'm sitting in front of the treasure trove of shit right in front of me right now.
Yeah.
One of my prized possessions is the Gears of War limited edition Lancer with the blood. It was a special edition from Amazon, and I got it with the special edition of Gears of War 2, the Xbox 3, and I got my COG tags hanging off of it. I got 2 guitars on my right. I got a Doom Guy helmet. I got a Master Chief helmet. I got there was only 10 made of these particular Dark Knight statues, about 18 inches tall.
Oh wow!
Dude, my show loaded. I got a Hulk Buster.
So just short of the 19 inches of Venom. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
18 inches of Venom. This is the 18 inches of Batman.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was that big. So
Pause.
Holy cow. They don't call him the Cape Crusader for nothing.
The Dark Knight. He's doing some dark things out there. Hold on. So Kay said after the table read, I reinstalled Halo Master Chief Collection.
Got his ass.
Nice. Got him. Ladies and
I
gentlemen,
mean, that's a phenomenal collection.
It is.
Where it is now compared to where it launched is, my God, leaps and bounds.
Yeah,
Leaps and bounds better.
yeah.
It's its own it's its own platform now. Like and I hope they bring some of the mods and things like, with Skyrim and Bethesda games, they tend to bring some mods from the PC over to console. People are doing some crazy stuff in there, and I hope that we're already seeing some crazy things with Forge, but I hope that we get a lot of this. Get a lot of the same sort of experience there.
I agree.
And they need. That's the one thing that I'm sort of curious about. Like, if Microsoft over time is going to start bringing a little bit more of the benefits from the PC side over to the console, because now that you have this connected ecosystem, like why not? Why not try to do all that? Because some of those things do keep these games going. That's the reason why Skyrim is still in your top most played games. How many years later is it? And can't wait to see what happens.
It's been a while.
Anyways, yeah.
But on that thought of the Forge though, like you're right. They're even talking about doing other things with Halo Forge. By the way, like they're not done. They're talking about possibly adding music, that people could add music for moments and stuff like that. They're talking about scripting voices and things like they're really going all out. Like you have to give 343 credit when it comes to the Forge. It's the most impressive it's ever been in any game. So. When you hear people talking about Halo and hyping it up, folks, if you have not played it, like maybe our brother Silent Cypher in the chat, shout out to Silent Cypher, you are missing out because it has been dramatically better from the season 4 on to now.
And I think it's gonna
is just amazing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna jump up another step here because now that they got the AI in there, just give people some time with that, and then like you were saying with the music and everything, people are going to basically be creating Halo levels, and you're going to just have an infinite, no pun intended, amount of Halo levels that you can keep playing over eventually. So I'm excited to see. Like I always thought that was like the X factor with it, and I really wish they could have got Forge closer to launch because I think the engagement, I know it's been better. I know it's come up a little bit, but I think it would have been at a different level.
Way different level if they could have gotten that closer to launch. I agree with you 100%. Like the Forge, you can see it clearly. Like it reinvigorated the game a lot. So I agree. Yep. But everything has its time, right? So one thing I like too is they're talking about fixing desync. So it's been issues with desync that everybody knows about. So they're talking about actually addressing that. And I remember people were like, they're never going to do that. I'm like, sure, I think they will. And sure enough, they need
to scrap it down. So because I was told by somebody that used to work there that really to fix it, because it was like they duct tape over top of duct tape
Mm-hmm.
top of duct tape when it came to that engine. So like they're gonna have to actually tear that thing all
Sounds
the way
like
down.
me at work, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that how we all grew up though? Like we all like anybody that's like in our is a little bit older, at least had 4 decades or more on this earth, probably has had a lot of experience with duct tape growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I use that analogy. But yeah, they really have to unravel all that and put it back together. And so the fact that they're doing that's really impressive because the assumption I always had was there's no way they're going to do that. They're going to probably wait for a sequel before they ever try to mess around with really going down to the root of everything and repairing it. But the fact that they're doing that kind of says to me that this will probably, even when the sequel comes out, then whatever the next Halo is, this will probably continue to live in its
Absolutely. Its own kind of thing.
Its own thing.
Speaking of that, now that you mention that, it makes me, I'll address it later, but it makes me think of what we could possibly see at the Game Awards now that you just said that. But yeah, sorry, Silent Cypher. He said the disrespect. I had to call you out for that. I remember your take. I was like, oh, I can't let you slide. Kay Santi says, so you're saying we could get you doing actual voice work for Halo? You should reach out to Xbox era John Clark. That's not a bad idea, Kay. Maybe I should do that. Were it so easy? Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like I can do the Master Chief too. Cortana. Need a weapon.
Speaking of which, did you guys happen to mention that they've confirmed season 2 is February 8th?
I saw.
For the TV show?
Yeah, that's actually worthwhile for news right there, actually.
It is worthy because they fired everyone, including the director. So this is going to be actually a Halo show, and let's hope that he doesn't have his helmet off for 95% of the show.
Hopefully he's not super interested in Master Chief's ass.
Yeah.
Look,
That's America's ass.
The helmet off. To be real with you, it was just like the story went nowhere, and
it was bad writing.
Yeah,
I just don't know what I don't mind him taking his helmet off. I really could care less as long as the story was interesting.
See, the thing for me is the helmet thing bothered me so much because one, we were so used to the Chief not doing that, right? Now he does take it off. We just don't see it. But the problem is that they continuously had them doing it in the field. It's like, why would they take their helmet off in the field where they're facing Covenant? That's the problem I had. Like, if they're doing it in the barracks, that's fine. But
my problem is he looked too much like Nick from.
Yeah, he definitely.
And I just couldn't take him.
That's definitely Nick. Yeah, if we talk about Kay Asante being Keys of that universe, then Nick is most definitely Master Chief of that universe. Yeah.
I'll just say Kay Asante did a better job as Keys.
K, aka Captain Keys Asante.
Yeah, Captain Keys Asante.
Now we all know what Nick's butt looks like. I'm glad that's the thing.
Now we know what the K and the Kay Asante stand for. Yeah, Keys Asante.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, the mystery has been unraveled.
The only positive I would say, because we ended up watching all the episodes and talking about it last year or when that show came out, and the aftertaste of the show was actually worse than even the first time eating it, because you started thinking about how bad the writing was and how nothing made sense, and you would kind of waste your time. The only good thing on that show though is at the very end. It's almost like they rebooted everything, and it's like made it all like.
I thought you were gonna say the sex scenes. I'm like, oh, that's the part you like.
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Actually, that character, his girlfriend was so annoying. I'm glad she's gone. Sorry.
Yeah. Honestly, I do think that the way that ended, I feel like if that season had been well received, she wouldn't have been dead. But now that it was panned, I think
that's what they. So they basically have now set it up where they can kind of go in any direction again.
Yeah. And
they could almost start the thing right from.
They should just call season 2 season 1.
I mean, basically, it was. It's the. You guys remember when we used to watch shows before, and sometimes they go off on the wrong track, and then they just basically say, "Oh, this was all like a dream sequence last season." Basically, that's what they did with this. They basically retconned it to the point where they can go in any direction now with how Chief is going to be. And how Cortana is going to be and everything else. So hopefully, with all the new writers,
hopefully,
and all that because
You
the
know-
actors, I'll say the actors
Yeah.
were not that bad.
I
thought-
agree.
The actors were actually pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah.
With you. It was the script that was just freaking awesome.
It's the script. It was the script
Yeah.
for sure. Because that guy they got for Chief, I forgot his name right now, but he's actually really
he's
solid.
a good Master Chief. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a solid Master Chief.
He's a
Absolutely.
solid actor.
Shout out to
yeah.
Gray Monad.
Oh, Great
who says
Monad.
that- yeah, he says no. Nick's ass would have more.
That's true. That's true. You
Yeah.
got me there.
Wait a minute. Wait. How would you know that, Gray?
Yeah. Hey. How many
Pause.
butts you been looking at?
Yeah, that's right. It is Pablo. That's right. Pablo
Pablo Schreiber.
Shriver. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Shriver. Yeah.
He's played on a bunch of things. Of course, I know Orange is the New Black is one of them. But his mustache, they called him on there. But
Yeah.
I mean, the man bulked up. He really got into the role. So I give him credit for that. Like, the thing is, though, they failed him when it comes to the script. However, it's like the thing is, like, the show had so much potential that was just kind of wasted in, with the writing, unfortunately. I just hope that they can pick it back up.
What was disappointing, Umbra, was that the opening scene, the opening episode was so
It
bombastic,
was. Yeah.
right? Like it was like right out of something out of the game, and then it just completely fell off a cliff.
Well, episode 5 too. Like that was it really. The second half of episode 5 when they.
Yeah.
When basically you had the Needler kill. We needed more Needler kills.
Yeah.
basically.
Need more super combines. Yeah. The super combines makes everything better. What else did we have, though? That was one of the news articles, too, so that's perfect that you brought that up.
And speaking of other release dates, we also got one release date that I believe will actually be hit, which is Dragon's Dogma 2, coming out March 22nd, 2024. It looks like this is the one Capcom was talking a while ago about, like, we're going to have a really big game. It's going to make a lot of money for us in the first little bit of the year. And it looks like
Do you think it's this? Yeah, because I know they spoke on that, but it wasn't
feels like
confirmed.
It feels like this is pretty likely the one, because Dragon's Dogma 2, I don't know if it'll be like a huge success, but I think it'll do pretty well. It's one of those like not critical darlings, but it's like a cult classic,
Fan favorite. Yeah, like it's got
so
its
I
own
think
cult
I think
following.
the second one is probably gonna take off more than the first one did.
Mhm.
So I do think that this is probably the one they're looking at. The one that I don't believe for a second, just because of the history of it, is apparently Skull and Bones is coming out February 16th, 2024.
Yeah, I have a hard
I
time
will
believing
not
that.
believe that game is coming out until it is. I was gonna say in my hands, but I ain't buying it.
Right, I'm not
So, I
paying
mean-
for that. The thing is, like I've heard from people who played the beta. I know that they were very strict on that and have to have your curtains down and all of that nonsense. But
Yeah.
I've heard that nothing but negatives about that game. I don't think I've heard one positive, and I knew that it was going to be more or less shovelware at a point. Like you could tell that it was going to be problems with that. I called it out way back, and I was correct. So just want to give myself a pat on the back. No, seriously though, that right there is sad because that game was aimed at the people who love Black Flag, which I did love, but they wasted so many years.
Amazing.
It was, right? But they wasted so many years trying to get this game out of there that it's not even, it's a faint thing in the memory of the past now. Like Black Flag had its time. Now this is, you're just left there at a lesser Black Flag game. So it just doesn't work. And I think the approach of how they're handling, where it's kind of like Assassin's Creed, but not. I don't think that's, I don't think most people would appreciate that. Just to read this, Bold Alpha Wolfpack, he drops another $10 more or less donation. Thank you, brother. He says, I'm hoping to see something on Wonder Woman, Hellblade 2 combat. Definitely Hellblade 2 combat. We need to see that.
I mean, if we see Hellblade 2, I feel like it pretty much has to be combat.
I think so.
I mean, we're going to get into it because obviously that's the crux of the show today.
True.
Obviously we're going to get into it, but the fact that it's been rated the way it was, that means it's going to be brutal, dude. Like, I think it's going to be.
Yeah, that rating it got definitely
Although I think
signifies
the
that.
first one, I think the first one may have also been rated like that. But to be fair, the first one had you carrying around a severed head for the whole game. So
yeah, there is that.
So
they had to cut back on the combat, gore, I guess, just because of the budget of that game.
I mean, 20 people made the first game.
Yep.
I really don't think. I think I'm giving them too much credit. I actually think it was 16 people that made the first game.
Yeah, it was pretty short.
It was a small team. Yeah,
It
it
wasn't
was a very
many.
small team. And they've talked in length because I know a lot of people have brought up the fact that we've seen it 3 times and they haven't shown combat. Is that really going to be part of the game? They've gone on they've done interviews and talked about that and they've actually even that was one of the key things they hired for initially was combat designers,
right?
And they've been talking about that was the one part of the game that really disappointed them. And and people who played their games in the past know that Ninja Theory does know how to make games that play really well. And they talked about the fact that the combat was a little bit flat, like it was not enough variety, and it wasn't dynamic enough, all that kind of stuff. So I'm expecting the reason why they haven't been showing us the combat is I think that's going to be
the special highlight.
Be like their hype. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's going to be their hype moment. And if they can come out there and it's pretty hard hitting and
so basic, just to say, the first game was rated M, so this is a harsher rating than that. It looks like, by the way.
Well, this is was it rated M in Australia? Because Australia is like really strict on all their stuff. Like,
it's rated 18 for that, and Clockwork Revolution are both 18. And
I actually have that on the rundown here. So Clockwork Revolution and Hellblade were both rated 18 plus, and South of Midnight got a PG rating. This apparently implies that they will either get a new trailer or just the game will be out soon. I don't think it being out soon is probably true of South of Midnight or Clockwork Revolution, but Hellblade I could see hitting the first half of the year, so that's possible.
Okay. Well, before we go too far, I want to finish reading the rest of Alpha Wolfpack's super chat. Sorry about that, Alpha Wolfpack. I mean, we did really go in depth on your what you were saying, though, to be fair. And he said it may be an Elden Ring DLC at the V. I think that's actually probably going to happen, actually.
Yeah, if we don't get what's it called? Shadow of the Erd Tree or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I think that's like almost a given.
Yeah, he says, I don't think we'll see Gears. I think that'll be for Xbox Showcase, and I actually agree with you there.
I would agree with that,
I think Wonder Woman has a chance. It's possible. But I don't think it would this early. I think, especially with Rocksteady having Suicide Squad on the horizon, I just think it'll be.
I almost wonder if they're gonna. I don't know that Suicide Squad is going to be super successful. I think it's gotten a lot of bad press, and I don't think when it comes out, it's going to be particularly good.
I don't think so either.
WWE or not WWE.
WWE
sees that too.
Yeah,
and they're like maybe going to just like push it out and then cover it with a Wonder Woman, because I do think Wonder Woman has a better chance of being a hit.
I hope so. I know it's using the Nemesis system and everything. Yeah, but I think what you're saying here, Alpha Wolfpack, I think you have at least 3 of these things I think is going to happen. I think we're going to see Hellblade 2 combat, Elden Ring DLC, 2 of these things, should I say, out of 3. Well, you did say Gears wouldn't be there. I actually agree with that too. So out of your 3 things, I agree with you 400%. I don't think Gears will be there either.
Umbra, Magnum Westward in the chat says that Hellblade in Australia was MA15.
So it's MA19 now? Is that the case?
Yeah. MA18.
Like 1
18. Okay.
I wonder if you're gonna sever limbs and stuff like that, or if they're not gonna go that hardcore. It might fit with the tone, because they get pretty.
I mean, if she's going to be chilling with Vikings, which that's what it looked like, that obviously was a very brutal time. There's really no sugarcoating. Their wars were just unbelievably brutal.
Yeah.
So in Australian classification, MA15 is 1 below R18, and it's R18 isn't the highest. The highest one is X18 plus, which I assume just means it's a porn game.
Oh yeah, sound like some porn going on over there.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah. So this does seems like
that must have been that BMX
so
game, Danny.
More intense game.
Remember that BMX Triple X game? That's what that was. That's what that was. It got that rating. But yeah, no, I mean, either way, we know it's going to be a mature game. That is good to know. It's probably going to have some gore and guts. So I'm all for it. I can't wait to see what they show us. I really can't. Finally, hopefully, we get to see some combat.
That means that Cognito is going to get his hashtag
just one. Absolutely.
Well, it's got to be a new IP for just one. Right?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it has to be a new IP.
That won't count.
Yeah.
But I think it like Hellblade. Initially, I thought maybe they would hold off and do something as they got closer to launch, but I think it just seeing how like Ninja Theory is so just kind of how artistic they are and coordinated they are, and and how everything's got to tell a story. It just makes a lot of sense for them, because they announced the Xbox. And with the Ninja Theory video, that was sort of like the the unveiling for the system to begin with, and then
Right.
they came back with a longer demo but without any combat. I think coming back and just kind of like finishing that whole string with finish the trilogy, right? Like in terms of like the reveal stuff, the big reveal stuff, and just now you reveal the combat, and I think it tells a good story, doing that at a show like this. So
I mean,
it makes too much sense.
They announced it there. To me, it just makes the most sense to show it off there. So I'm hopeful. Yeah, I think if Microsoft, if they're not going to get any other nominees and nominations, I mean, they got 10 to be fair, but if they're not going to win all of these things, at the very least, they can be showstoppers at the show with the trailers and the announcements.
The show is at their arena or whatever. Like it's at
at the Microsoft. Oh, okay, I see.
So it's like, hey Jeff, if you wanted this location, you're gonna show our stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
So
what
I got
else
some
do we
quick
have?
hits here that we can get through. Speaking of the Game Awards, they're beefing up security. Thank God.
About time.
My dude Jeff Keighley, like, mad respect, but if you did not beef up security, you were liable to get somebody hurt.
If that boy that was up there last time, if he happens to get up there again, I think they should just make him a part of the show.
They should just beat his ass.
That's what I want to see.
To
make an example
of the corner of the stage the whole time, and if someone rushes the stage, just beat their ass on stage.
OBM living up to his name. He just beat him.
Just beat their ass.
You and Danny both want to beat.
Make an example.
Yeah.
Damn.
Put their head on a spike. Leave it for the world.
Matter is, listen, from a law enforcement point of view, I mean, I even reached out to Jeff. Not that he gave a shit, because I'm nobody, but I'm like, dude, you got to be better, man, because you got to understand, first of all, your personal safety is paramount. Obviously, you're the producer.
Yep.
But the fact that you have C-level executives sitting in the audience, brother, you need this. This isn't hangout time. This is you are required to be have the safety of everyone there as paramount. You know what I'm saying?
Like, a good point there.
You have a lot of C-level
executives,
a lot of devs over there.
The CEO of gaming and field there. You're right. So they got the C-levels.
It's already so weird to me that, like, because you can buy tickets to the Game Awards. Like, any of us could buy a ticket and go to the Game Awards. They're really expensive, but we could do it. And it seems like there's no real separation between the people who are there, who are like our guests, and people who bought tickets. Like, they're at the front and you're at the back, but otherwise, like, you're in the same room. There's no separation, because that guy.
Are there metal detectors? Are there anybody? Are you walking through a scanner? Like, there's a lot to do, dude. I mean, really, honestly, from, like I said, I'm sorry to put my popo hat on, but when I saw that, I was appalled, bro. Honestly,
it's weird. It's weird that it's happened twice. You would think that once,
right? You would think
I
once
guess the
was
second
enough.
time wasn't at the Game Awards. Technically, it was over at Gamescom or whatever. But still,
yeah. I mean,
like, damn.
Yeah. I mean, it's haunting him specifically. And it's like you said, though, like, you got super mega rich and important people there, and C-level, execs, like you said, boom. So you would think that you would have that beefed up. You never know what somebody could pull in this world that we live in nowadays.
There's a reason why you can't just buy a ticket for the Oscars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not. It's worrisome for sure. Yeah,
I'll
co-sign the make an example out of him treatment that you guys co-sign. Yeah. I'll jump on the bandwagon. What else did we have, Daddy?
We had, Destiny's next expansion, the Final Shape, has been officially delayed. To which I say, yup. Like, no shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird that it took this long for them to specifically say that it was. I also think it's weird. So I keep asking, like, friends of mine who I know who play Destiny or who used to play Destiny, I'm like, is Final Shape the end of Destiny 2? And they're like, probably. I don't know. Let's just say. So it's like, it's so weird to me that they're like, I don't know. It's weird that they're this far in the hole, like right at the finish line of this game's tale, potentially. I think it's a real bummer for them. I hope that it seems to be a fairly common thought among at least my friends who play it, that after Final Shape, they'll sort of, like, it'll still exist and they'll still support it, but that most of their focus will move on to, like, Marathon and whatever the other thing they're working on is. And so it's so weird to me that it's like, I just wish it was in a better state for people who cared about it. I've never really liked Destiny, to be fair, so it doesn't bother me at all, but it sucks for people who do.
Yeah. Yeah, Kay, I would think that would be a bad idea, especially this year. I think they might make an example out of John. He says, so it was a bad idea if I had me to ask John Wolf to jump on the stage and scream Xbox tax at Jeff Keighley. Yeah, I think that'll be a bad idea, Kay. Oh, poor John wouldn't make it back to his missus in one piece. He'd be like, they taxed me instead. Yeah, he would get taxed.
Don't tax me, bro.
Yeah, don't tax me, bro. Yeah, they would tax him. I don't want him to go out there and get caught up. What's up, Dusty, brother? What else, Danny? What else do we have in the news?
Hey, Infinity Ward is opening another studio down here in Austin, Texas. Yeehaw. So I guess the Activision studio family is continuing to grow. Even if they're not purchasing new teams, they are growing themselves internally. I think this is a good sign for people who want other teams to be taken off of Call of Duty, because I think the fact that Infinity Ward is beefing up their own staff implies that they're planning on taking more of the work onto themselves. That might be reading into it too much, but that's my thought. So
Infinity Ward, which Call of Duties do they typically make?
Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare's? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So protect Infinity Ward at all costs. I actually prefer the Modern Warfare games from them. So, and I'm not even the biggest Call of Duty fan.
The Black Ops games have always been Treyarch.
Yeah.
And mostly has been all of the Modern Warfare has for the most part has been
Infinity
Ward.
Okay. Which ones does Sledgehammer typically do?
The other ones.
The other ones. The lessers.
The offshoot ones.
Yeah.
Sledgehammer did. To me, like I said, Sledgehammer did a lot of the work on 3.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people didn't like.
True.
I'm here to. It's an 8 out of 10 for me, and I put almost 30 hours into the single player, and I loved it.
I'm at a 7 for it, but I haven't given enough time. So, but I think though that 4 is still just ridiculous. There's no way in the world that game is a 4.
It's all it is. All the 4 was meant to do by IGN is to get engagement.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it is. I know there's some people that be going, oh, it's the Xbox tax. It's Dan Stapleton, throwing his weight around, and because he has a big thing against consolidation.
Yeah,
doesn't like it. So you can the way they've been handling themselves in the last month or so, it's just been so poor, it's you don't know really what the motivation is, but I'm here to tell you, the game is not a fool.
Yeah,
it's just not.
It's not. I agree. And I've only played zombies. I played zombies. I played a bit of the multiplayer with friends, and I played a bunch of the single player campaign. It's like a Halo situation with me. You can't have all these things offered to people and be like, that's a 4. It doesn't even make sense. It's too much value for that. It's too much goodness in that to give it that low of a score.
Well, I feel like a 4. Actually, I can just pull up
their scale.
Yeah, I can pull up their scale. So a 4, according to IGN, is bad. It says, for one reason or another, these games made us wish we'd never played them, even if there's a good idea or two in there somewhere. They're buried under so many bad ones and poor execution, we simply can't recommend you waste your time on it.
Wow.
The examples they have are WWE 2K20, which I don't remember which one that is, the Legend of Korra game, Colonial Marines, and Medal of Honor Warfighter. I don't, from what I've heard, I don't think the majority of people think it's that low. I will say I think the 4 was specifically a review for the campaign, right? Because I think multiplayer is like pretty well received right now.
True.
I don't know anything about the campaign.
Yeah, I think though they gave the multiplayer, I think they gave that like a 6 or something like that, or a 7.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you could tell the way they approach it.
Anything but to give it a good score.
Exactly.
They want to double down. That's the bottom line.
That's the biggest problem. I think that's the biggest problem because they want to get engagement.
Yeah, they gave the
6, right?
A 6.
Okay.
And the system's a bit flawed too, because if you think of it, because what happens is like they give a single player and a multiplayer score. I think those get aggregated into an average. So really, you end up bringing like the worst part of the game is always going to bring down the score. It's like almost like you'd be better off not having a single. Like you would have got a higher score if you would have. Yeah, if you would have only done a multiplayer game, you would have actually scored higher than when you add the content. So that's my issue with some of these packages as well. And it's like, when I look at those overall packages, if I'm feeling like the multiplayer is an 8 and the single player is not worth playing, to me that game is an 8. Then if I'm actually enjoying the multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I have heard a lot of negatives about the campaign, Not necessarily that
same
it was
here.
like bad or poorly made, but that it was made in a very rushed way, and apparently a lot of the maps are reused. And like I understand that. I don't think that makes it a 4, but I understand people are not happy with that. My understanding from the people I've spoken to personally about the multiplayer of Modern Warfare 3 is that it's like really good. Like people are really happy with it, to my understanding.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing
so
too.
I don't understand the 6. The 4, I don't understand either of them. It's almost like, I don't know. It kind of almost feels like they were like, oh, people were upset about the 7. Hold my beer.
Exactly.
For Starfield, you know what I mean?
And that's what that goes to the tax thing we were talking about. It's not like they're like, oh, we're going to get the Xbox for this, but their biases, their biases and whatever how they feel about Microsoft and these acquisitions and the clicks that they inevitably need to get to bring people into their site. They're going to do things like this.
That's what I think the tax is. I think the Xbox tax is the fact that because Microsoft is in 3rd place, they are the smallest user base by far.
Mm-hmm.
They know that that's the one that they can say really negative things about and get the clicks in without catching like the smallest amount of backlash from developers or whatever. I think that is the Xbox tax, is that like, because even sometimes like these specific reviews are wild in terms of the score they gave them, but a lot of the times you'll read the actual body of a story and you'll be like, oh, that's not like, that's fine, like they just didn't like this thing, whatever, and it's like completely understandable in the actual body of it, and then the headline will be like, Xbox
way
blah, blah,
ridiculous,
blah.
exactly.
Like, it's like, okay, clear, like this is literally just done for clicks, and like I get it, but like why it's like always
it's always that, and then
like
they always do it to Xbox for one. They occasionally
they'll write a negative story about PlayStation,
right?
The headline will be like really
forgiving and
sugar-coated.
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly what it is, and they know what they're doing, and that's the thing I dislike. They try to act, oh, we're not doing this thing that you can clearly see we're doing. It's like, stop it. The gaslighting is insane. I do want to move on to it though, because we're kind of getting out of time. I was going to say, Spider-Man 356. What's up, brother? He says, Umbra, Germany is suing Sony. That's right. Did you have that one?
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
You never expect the Germans to do it.
The Germans. Okay, let me stop myself. Wait a minute.
You're gonna get yourself canceled.
All right. The spirit of Germany took over for a second, and the Deutsch almost got me caught up.
I think you should banish that particular joke. I do have just a couple more here that should be pretty fast. Game Pass is getting some big hitters pretty soon. Looks like December is going to be a really good month for Game Pass. Headliners are both of the Remnant games, I think. Remnant from the Ash and Remnant 2. I don't know if Remnant 2 had a tagline that I'm not remembering. Far Cry 6, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and World War Z Aftermath. Looks like those are the big ones. There's a couple others in there that are like probably going to be fun for some people. SteamWorld Build, I know, is really popular. But yeah, it looks like December is going to be a really good month for people in Game Pass. I will probably actually play Far Cry 6. I know some people were really high on that game, and some people were really.
It was really good.
So
it was really good. I quite enjoyed it.
Okay, so guys, I see some people saying that they can't hear you guys as well. So they can hear me pretty fine. But if you guys are away from the mic or anything, make sure you get a little closer just in case.
All right, I will start yelling.
Yeah. Well, the news said.
Umbra's turning us all down because he just wants to only his opinion.
Right. What's up, Punty? Yeah, so the whole Germany thing, it says Consumer Protection Agency in Germany has issued a warning to Sony in regards to the terms and conditions of the PS network. They're saying it's trash and Sony needs to improve it, basically. Sony is asked to strike these points and conditions, otherwise it will go to court. I'm sure Sony will address it and take care of it. They don't want to go through that, but yeah. More woes for Sony, though. That's interesting. All while their Hooved brothers are worried about Xbox. That's pretty funny.
Almost like putting gaming on the global stage was a poor decision for PlayStation in particular.
Yeah.
Shocker. Are you ready for another story?
Let me read this super chat really quick. Boom. From Bold Alpha Wolfpack, he gives a generous $4.99 donation. He says, Boom said, when the ABK trial was announced that COD under Xbox banner would see its lowest review ever, and it happened. Absolutely. I remember you saying that too.
I listen, you know, people can call me a conspiracy theorist, but the truth of the matter is that it's like I said, the multiplayer. I don't play the multiplayer, but everyone that has played it is like, what are you talking about? This is the best thing since Black Ops 3. And if that in fact is the case, then they did their job. Now, okay, maybe I don't play Warzone. I know that there was some Warzone elements, baked into the single player. That's why I liked it. I spent 3 days hunting a 90-point achievement to find every weapon in the game, and I did it. And I loved it. I played each board probably 4 or 5 times, and I had a blast.
Yeah, well, I hadn't done that yet, but I did enjoy what I played. I mean, I will say 2019's remake or remaster, or whatever, if you will, whatever it was, remake. That actually was really, really dope. And I saw some of that so far in this campaign as well. That one mission where you had to kind of play, I don't want to give too much away, but it seemed a little different than the traditional storytelling aspect of their campaigns. But I still think it was pretty solid. I enjoyed it. And again, I don't typically play Call of Duty. The only thing I will play is their single player, and it has to be a solid one. I remember Ghosts. Ghosts sucked. It sucked so much it made me stop playing Call of Duty games. So this is a step in the right direction, in my opinion. I'm sure there are some more diehard Call of Duty fans who could probably tell me I'm wrong on this, but I enjoyed what I played. I don't think it's that bad to give it a 4. I could see if you maybe said a 6 or a 7 or something. I don't know, but a 4 to me, again, you may as well have told me the game was broken. That's all I can hear.
Yeah.
But what else did we have, Danny? I know we got to touch on WWE.
Yeah, we got just a handful here. One of the other ones I wanted to make sure to mention is, hey, Unity's laying off a bunch of people again. 265 people are being terminated, specifically from the Unity side of Weta FX, which is Weta is a
special effects company.
Yeah, they're a special effects company. They have worked most famously on the Lord of the Rings stuff, but they've worked on a lot of other stuff as well.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning that even though that's 265 people, which is a lot of people, the Weta is still going to exist. It's just like, it's hard to explain, but basically there was part of Weta that was owned by Unity, and they're cutting ties with that and then firing everyone on their side, which is apparently about 3 or 4% of the work staff. The remainder of it is actually owned by Peter Jackson, the director of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
And so Weta is, I don't want to say fine, because losing a lot of people sucks 100% of the time, but like will continue to exist.
How many people do they have, I wonder, on staff that they're losing that many people?
I mean, if that's 3%.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so they must be at 1,000, so close to, right?
Yeah, it would have to be about like 1,000, just over.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, unfortunate, because we never want to hear anybody losing their job, so that's unfortunate. And we're seeing more and more of this happening all across the fields in media and tech and everything like that. So it's unfortunate.
Well, this is also partially likely because Unity is getting a lot of blast back for their really stupid decision earlier in the year of like making people pay for the downloads of games separately, which is stupid. This is apparently such a large reduction of force for Unity that they are actually closing 14 different locations. Like they're closing 14 offices.
Wow.
And are no longer requiring people who would have worked at those offices that didn't get fired. They're allowing them to work from home, apparently. Although, honestly, maybe it's pessimism. I think they're probably going to get laid off at some point soon, too. So,
yeah, that's what it's sounding like.
So
it's just crazy what the decision of some greedy types can do to the other people who had nothing to do with it, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's too bad, man. What else do we have? We're going on to the WWE information.
Yeah, there's only one more that I really wanted to mention here outside of that, which is, hey, that Fallout show looks really good.
Oh, man. Yes, it does.
That Fallout show looks really dope.
Yeah.
So some stuff that we learned about it they just did a big Vanity Fair blowout. Go read it. It's highly worth the time for it. We've learned that there's 3 main characters that they're going to follow. They're going to switch between their perspectives, sort of Game of Thrones style. There's Lucy, who's being played by Ella Purnell from Yellow Jackets. Also a really good show. Highly recommend. Who she's a vault dweller who does the Fallout like 1 and 2 thing of like, hey, we're living underground and everything's fine. Oh no, something went wrong. Let's go.
Right.
So she's doing that whole thing. There's Maximus, who's being played by Aaron Moten, and he's a Brotherhood of Steel initiate. So the Brotherhood of Steel is going to play a big role in this show, which I think is really cool. And then the third one is just called The Ghoul, and it's played by Walter Goggins, who's a really famous actor. You probably know him.
Excellent actor.
Just all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Ridiculously great actor. So I already have trust in it because he's in it alone.
Yeah. Well, the thing's also being directed by not Christopher Nolan, but his brother
Jonathan, is it?
Jonathan Nolan. I don't something like that.
Yeah.
He goes by Jonah, is what I know. I think his real name is Jonathan.
Okay. Yeah.
But it seems like Walter Goggins, the Ghoul, is going to be more of an antagonistic role. So it's kind of cool. Pretty cool.
I'm all for it.
All the pictures we've seen from it are like, wow, they're really taking this seriously. There's a lot of production quality in here.
I love it.
It looks great.
This will be airing on Amazon, right? Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm all for it. Amazon, to their credit, they put a good amount of budget into their shows, man. They need to, like, you look at their Lord of the Rings show, that had to cost. I can't remember the exact cost, but I know it was costly.
It was very expensive, and it looked like it. Like, you could see it look like every frame of that show. That show was beautiful.
Yeah, it looked like the movies. Like, you could tell they put a lot of money into the special effects and stuff like that. So,
yeah, well, and all the orcs and stuff look great because they were actual costumes.
The costuming and everything.
Yeah, through it.
Yeah,
super cool.
I agree. Special effects, the costuming, all of that, and the actors they brought in.
That was Weta.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
there you go.
All right.
Full circle.
Full circle. But what else did we have? And now we're moving to the WWE, right?
This is the last thing.
Look in my eyes.
Yeah, there we go.
What do you see? All right.
So at Survivor Series last Saturday, CM Punk returned to WWE in a way that no one thought he would ever do, which is on one hand really cool, and on the other hand, like, did we learn nothing? Because let me make this perfectly clear for people who don't watch wrestling. So I'll use an analogy that will bring it into the video game world. This is like if PlayStation actually hires Bobby Kotick. Like, that's what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
Because he will make WWE a ton of money, but at the same time, he's going to make everybody who works there, he's going to make their lives miserable. Because that's just what he does. He is incapable of, like,
just peacefully getting along. Huh?
Yeah. And I think they're playing into the storyline because there's no way not to.
You could tell they are.
So, like, so at the end of his first promo, he said, like, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money.
I'm not here to make friends.
I'm glad that you're wearing that on your sleeve, my guy. But, like, also, wow, dude, like,
Listen.
we're 100%, we're already hearing about backstage drama. We're already hearing about people, like, threatening to quit. We're hearing about people storming out of the building. Like,
man,
him being there is immediately a hit to morale.
You know what, though? I think WWE needed some of this injection into their little PG thing they're doing here. It's a little sickening watching them. Like, I need more of this type of aggression.
I agree, but I don't think they're going to allow CM Punk to do anything like that either. Because to your point, WWE very much is the PG era. They, you watch Survivor Series and it's sponsored by Slim Jims and Ruffles, and they're like, you got Tozawa doing a goofy little dance, and like, it's very much like, not to put it down because I do think they have a good product, but like, it is very much a thing that they want you to be able to put your kid down in front of and be like, this is a children's thing. Like, it feels very Disney. Whereas over on the AEW side where he was before, it's the Attitude Era. It is, people are coming out, they're saying swears and they're cutting each other, and like, things are getting rough. Like if you saw that Hangman Page Swerve Strickland match from Full Gear 2 weeks ago, that shit got crazy. Hangman was using a real ass staple gun on Swerve and then drank his blood from his forehead as it was dripping from his head. Like, AEW is going the opposite direction, in a way that I actually really like. I think the AEW product is really, really good, and I think this WWE product is really, really good, but I don't think that CM Punk works in the product that they're making, if that makes sense. I don't think a PG Punk is going to be fun. And lately WWE has this weird trend of hiring a lot of really big name people who are coming over from the competition and then not using them well. Like, they hired Jade Cargill, who's an amazing wrestler. She's this ridiculously buff lady who looks like she could bench press a car, and it probably has in the past. I would not be surprised at all. Extremely talented, great on the mic, super awesome. They just got her doing push-ups at the Performance Center. Like, she has not been on TV outside of like 2 things where she showed up, and like, she stepped out of a car and was like, I work here now, and we have not seen her since. And it's been like 3 months. Like, it's been a minute. Or like, they hired Cody Rhodes, and it was the biggest signing that they've potentially ever done because he was like the biggest guy coming over directly from their competition.
I love his intro music too, by the way.
Oh, he's got the best intro music. He's so good. He's so talented. But then they got him just like, they like don't know what to do with him. Like, they've got him kind of like floundering around a lot, and like, he's still doing good work because he's Cody Rhodes. Like, you can put him anywhere and he's gonna make it work. but at the same time, it's like he's been there for 18 months, a year and a half, and the only gold they put on him was the tag titles that objectively in WWE mean nothing. Like the tag titles have never gotten respected in WWE basically since like the Hardys left. And it was a tag team with one of the Usos even. So it was like this weird thrown together tag teams. And it's just like you keep hiring all these people and then not doing anything with them, and now you're bringing in Punk to your very PG product, and that's not what Punk is. And it's like, where's this going? Like the theory is that he's going to feud with Seth Rollins, and it's going to be a great match. I tell you right now, it's going to be a really good match. But it's like, I don't know. It's going to feel like,
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how they play it out. Hopefully, it's not too watered down. I mean,
yeah,
I guess it depends how they approach it, but I like that they got the heat going right now between him and Seth. Seth did say some things I saw way back, and so plays Seth, well into that. So that's
Seth
really dope.
Hates CM Punk. Like he's a professional, and so he'll do the job.
Yeah.
But he very much like for real hates CM Punk.
Yeah, I saw that. So it'll be interesting to see how they play into it, man. I'm all for it. I like it, and I'm biased though. I will admit. I mean, I'm Chi-Town. What can I say?
Yeah.
What can I say? The best in the world. It is what it is.
That's probably why he's such a dirtbag from Chicago. Yeah. That's probably what it is.
That's the hate. I know what it is. That's the Texas hate. But yeah. So okay, we won't dwell on that too long. I do want to move to the last one because we are kind of coming up on time. But so the main topic here would definitely be the Hellblade II, Clockwork Revolution, in South of Midnight, all being rated in Australia. And I mean, we spoke on this a bit earlier where we were highlighting that being the case. Let me see if I can find a specific article for this really quick so I can read from this. Oh yeah, did you read that about Cyberpunk, by the way? Cyberpunk, and on December 5th, they're getting on the same day the Ultimate Edition drops, they'll be dropping a free update 2.1 introducing new hotly anticipated gameplay elements. So they're really going all out. So shout out to CD Projekt Red.
I had that in the rundown, but we were running low on time, so I cut it.
Okay. So you're right. This says the Australian rating board has rated Clockwork Revolution and Senua Saga 2 as R18+ due to high impact of violence. South of Midnight PG, mild themes, scary scenes. They try to rhyme right there. Okay. The pages have since been restricted. So the problem is that it's been restricted, so that automatically gives credence to, oops, we didn't mean to do that. So now, the thing for all of us is that now we're wondering, and we already speculated. Boom, I know you remember this. We were speculating on what will be shown at the VGAs, and Hellblade 2, if you remember, I said it would be multiple times. I figured it would be there. So this just plays right into that to hear this. So that tells us likely it's a trailer that is prepared for the VGAs. What are you guys' thoughts on this right here? And outside of these things, do you think all three of these will be shown? And furthermore than that, if they're dated here for that, how far along do you think they are? Is it a chance that on top of all the other games we're getting next year, we'll also get three right here? These three first-party games.
Well, let me tell you what 3-Bit said. Obviously, 3-Bit is in the part of the development community, and he said in his experience, when a game is brought to the ratings review board, it is done. Now, he said that doesn't always happen. He goes, there's been instances where he saw a game way out and was brought to the review board. But the one thing he did confirm is that when you bring your finished product to the review board, you are telling them this is the game. You cannot change the game, otherwise you have to re-register for it to be reviewed again. Now, there's a couple of things that's pretty interesting here. Compulsion Games has been working on South of Midnight for over 5 years.
Yeah,
that's a confirmed fact.
Is it now? Hellblade, by the way, is South of Midnight, is that AAA or AA? I'm thinking it's AA, right? You think it's AAA?
It's small AAA. Like they went from 40 people to over 100. So
okay, so it's likely AAA.
They got a lot of people that's
budget wise.
Yeah. So it seems like it's a AAA budgeted game and developed, and obviously they doubled their staff, more than doubled their staff from We Happy Few. Hellblade, listen, they've been working on that since 2018, since they were announced. You know what I'm saying? So they've been working on that for a while. And Clockwork Revolution is another one. I mean, you saw what I saw. That game, we saw gameplay. That game looked really far along. And here's a little bit of a tidbit. I don't know if you guys remember this, and I was talking about this with Kay Asante this afternoon. The reason why Microsoft bought, that actually acquired inXile, is because Phil Spencer saw this game. They've been working on this game for years. At least that is the running rumor.
Right.
Now, obviously, they've had some releases before this comes out, but from what we understand and what has been told to me, that when Phil Spencer saw this game, he was like, wow, yeah, we got to get in on this. The same way he saw Hellblade 2, the same way he saw what Compulsion was working on. That's why these studios were purchased.
Mm-hmm.
These are all new IPs. I mean, Hellblade isn't really new. Obviously, there was a sequel. I mean, this is a sequel, but I've been banging this drum for months and saying that one of the 4 big ones was Clockwork Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that South of Midnight could be in there, but you never know, man. I mean, you know, Peaches, aka Matt Booty, did say we have so many games ready that we just don't know where to put them.
Yeah, that's true. He has gone on record saying that. You know, my thinking is, I think, you know, the old saying is, where there's smoke, there's fire. I think we already knew it was a foregone conclusion about Hellblade 2. We knew that would be there. I think it's like, at this point, it had to be there. You know, all this time that's gone by, it's dropping next year. What better way to get it is publicity again than to drop it again, you know, where you announced it. So that was a foregone conclusion. Now, Clockwork Revolution, I know we all thought that looked super polished. Like as soon as we saw it, we were like, that looks like it could be ready next year. Like soon. Mm-hmm. So that just all fits in line with what we thought. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, they've been working on South of Midnight Compulsions for at least 5-6 years. So that it had to be close to being ready. So it just makes sense. I think that's 3 games right there, ladies and gentlemen. That I almost said folks like you did, Boom. That's 3 games, folks. But that's 3 games that will more than likely land first party next year already. You know, we talked.
That's without Call of Duty and Avowed.
Exactly. That's without even counting those right there. And I'm hyped for Avowed, by the way. I know some people are kind of like,
me too. But I'm super hyped for that.
Oh yeah, I trust Obsidian, so I know that's going to be good.
I'm thinking about. I would not be surprised if Avowed gets more time though, because Obsidian's one of those developers. I've always been. I've been a big fan of their writing.
Yeah.
Like their quests,
character work.
They definitely have some strengths.
Yeah.
And the thing that's always held them back from getting that mainstream recognition has been the production value. So I would be totally fine with them putting that thing back in the oven and being like, you know what, we're gonna get the animations and the visuals, you know, up to a level I think that maybe what you would expect from a AAA studio.
What if Clockwork took their spot and said, hey, listen, you know what, you guys bake as long as you need until you're ready, and maybe they release first quarter 25.
That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I think they have a few games that are further along than people think. I think even Fable's further along than people are thinking. So it's one of those things, and I think one of the things Microsoft's probably learned over the last few years between the Halo situation, and I know maybe Redfall is probably a bad example because that was something they kind of picked up, you know, when it was closer to the finish line.
Yeah.
Obviously they should have still pushed that way back, but at the end of the day, I think that they've recognized that sometimes just a little bit more can go a long way.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, you saw them delay Halo just to work on graphics. Well, I mean, obviously the multiplayer had a long way to go too, but and they haven't been shy about that. They weren't shy about delaying Psychonauts 2 to add levels and things. They weren't shy about delaying Wasteland 3 so they could add voice acting to everything. Yep. I think that they heard the feedback, and so I wouldn't be surprised that based on that, they're like, you guys, let's pull this back and let's really try to get you. Let's try to get you to the next level. Like not just put out a good Obsidian game, but like but get you to the point where you get the production values at the level where you're going to get the attention that studio probably deserves with everything else they do well.
Yeah. No, that's well said. And you brought up Halo. You mentioned it a second. I was saying I was going to mention that from earlier. One of the things that I'm thinking we might be able to see at the VGAs is the long anticipated whatever it is they've been working on, certain affinity thing with Halo. What are you guys thinking about that? You think they might pop up there rather?
I mean, they said they were going to show something in December. I mean, they did literally said that. So I mean, what is that? Is that December? Is that December 7th?
What better time?
You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely possible. I think that there's weirdly, if it's specifically the Halo thing that they're working on, it makes me think that like that to me feels like something that they wouldn't say for the developer direct that I think we all kind of assume is going to happen at the top of the year.
Yeah.
But we also know that they're working on other projects, so they might be showing off something else with that, depending on like who their publisher is.
Oh yeah. Aren't they working on a fantasy game as well, right, or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know who's publishing that or what, but I think that's something that they're working on.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. No. I if that pops up there, I think that's why I said like Microsoft might not go away with a bunch of wins or a game of the year necessarily, but they can still win essentially as far as what they show off.
I mean, PlayStation desperately needs to show off something. So they really need to show up there in some way.
I don't think they have anything. Well, do they have anything?
I don't know. They
maybe Death Stranding, maybe part 2. I don't know.
If they can pop, they can pop up a trailer for. I mean, I don't know anyone who would pop for Death Stranding, but if they can somehow get a trailer out there for Wolverine, even though we know that that's apparently not coming out until at least 2025. That's official now.
Yeah.
If we can get a trailer for that, like that would be big for them. That would be something that would actually give people something to talk about, which would be nice on the PlayStation side of things. Nintendo's never really showed up there in a major way. I think that the biggest thing they've ever done is like the Smash reveals or whatever. So I think that this could very easily, if Xbox wants this to be a marketing beat for them, then they could very easily make that one.
Yeah.
If they also want to protest the Game Awards for not giving them the recognition that they feel that they deserve, then they could also just fill it with Game Pass ads and be like, "Fuck you." So, like,
I think they're going to leverage. Yeah, I think they're just going to leverage the stage because this is.
Well,
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that used to play Xbox. They were on the 360. They moved over to the PlayStation.
Right.
They're not going to watch next year's Direct. They're not going to watch next year's. And now that Sony's pulled out of the E3, and Microsoft kind of sits alone, there's not that draw where everybody's going to watch every show like they used to. And I think that's probably smart on Sony's part. Oh, go ahead.
No, I think there's a non-zero chance that they announce the developer direct at Game Awards.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I think there's this very solid chance that they show off a trailer for
that
something
would be smart.
Doesn't have the release date on it, and then they're like more information at developer direct January whatever.
That would be smart.
There's a really solid chance of that.
That would be smart.
We can't forget about that either. Yeah, and I think like teeing that up, figure out any way you can to tee that up because I think they are going to bring, last year we saw how well that went over. I would expect that, seeing Hellblade here makes a lot of sense. I don't know that I would expect too many more known commodities that they need to go deeper on. Usually those do a lot better at a direct, like if you're going to go deep on, South of Midnight or Clockwork, Revolution. I think something like that makes more sense at a direct where you're going to spend maybe 4 or 5 minutes going through it. You're not going to get that floor time. I think what what these award shows are good for is also revealing something new. And so I'm wondering maybe if there's just something that we don't even know about, like maybe it's a new IP or something that I think this is a good chance to kind of come out with something like that, especially if you have like any new IPs that are impressive looking or by one of your big studios or something like that. I think this is a good time to come out with that. So I think that's my other thing is maybe predicting something that we're not even
looking for. That's why I said I feel like Concert Infinity could possibly pop up. It's not really on our radar, but that would be something major right there, especially for Halo, the turnaround they have going on. And I'm still wondering if it's going to be this battle royale and all of that. Like, I'm wondering what they're doing. It seems like it's got to be something more grand, right? To me, it doesn't seem like it'll be oh, here's just another multiplayer mode. I don't think it'll be that. I think it's going to be something bigger for all the time it's taken. So I'm excited for that alone. But yeah, I think we're going to see some good stuff at this show. Personally, I mean, if at this indicators right here, that tells me next year, 2024 is about to be. We talk about 2023 and how great this has been for Xbox, which it has been. 2024 looks to upstage it, in my opinion, especially with because we got even third-party games that they've grabbed already. We know about Stalker 2 dropping. We got Eodine Chronicles. You got what was that other game? It's a bunch of games. I can't even remember off the top of my head, and that's just third-party and such. So I think the whole reality of having a game a quarter is a reality that's about to happen. We're probably going to get an overabundance at that. Probably 2 or 2.5 or something like that. Not 2.5, but 2 or 1.5. I don't know how to describe this, but maybe 2 a quarter. How about that? Let me just keep it even.
We got to give Umbra a second. He's going to grab the calculator.
Yeah. It'll be DLC / full game. That's it. That's what I was alluding to. Yeah. But I think we might get 2. We might end up getting like 2 games a quarter from first party. That's what it kind of looks like to me if this all plays out. Yeah. So I'm excited for that. But listen, folks, I think that's really the show for us. I think not much else we can really touch on. Pause. That outside of
Bro, hey, you can't be doing that live on the
show. Right. Listen, this is my show, damn it. I'll touch what I want. No, but listen. I want to thank you all in the chat for being here and holding us down. Thank you guys for the super chats. Really appreciate you. I know some of you are here for the first time ever, and I didn't say it throughout the show, but listen, could you kindly hit the like button and to subscribe if you haven't done that? Well, you appreciate it.
Before we do the sign-offs, and I know that people probably got to go to bed and everything.
Yeah.
I think you did mention something you were going to
touch on.
Give a different angle on the whole Xbox third-party thing.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I thought I'd remind you because
thank you.
Some people that maybe they're waiting around the whole time.
That is a good point. I actually kind of slipped my mind because I saw the time that we had left. So
the people who were waiting for it was OBM.
Yeah, it was him.
He's like,
it was me all along, right? So the way I was going to approach that on the third party thing, because we all know Microsoft is not moving into being a third party, but I'm going to play devil's advocate right here. So that being the case, let me read this out because I typed this up and I feel kind of proud of this. I said, with Game Pass being undeniably great, many, in parentheses, our Hooved brothers, of course, have started spreading FUD that Xbox will go third party, despite CEO of gaming Phil Spencer making it clear that they're not a third party publisher, but some key games will land on other platforms. So entertaining this nonsense for a second, fellas, and I can go around table, starting with you, OBM. In what ways do you think we can see the service expanding going forward? Like, obviously, we don't think that there's going to be, they're third party now, right? But what ways can you see the service expanding to other platforms? Do you see that happening? Or like, for instance, we know certain key games appear there. We know the Minecrafts. We know the Call of Duties. Yeah. Do you see any other first party games expanding onto those services, like a Halo or let's say Elder Scrolls? Do you see any of those things happening?
So, like, I'm trying to think of how to be quick and not go long-winded OBM, because long-winded OBM probably could talk for a long time.
Yeah.
Because this really ties into a lot of the stuff, like when it comes to like changes in the industry, and a lot of it really is semantics. Microsoft already is a third party. I mean, they publish 2 of the biggest games that are multi-plats with Call of Duty and Minecraft. When you think about it that way, Tim Stewart was speaking on it. He's also the same guy, by the way, who before the Bethesda deal was closed was saying, well, everything will always just be better or best on Xbox and this and that. Like, he doesn't get into the details. He lets Phil Spencer, we learned from the trials that Phil Spencer makes the call on what
he makes it right. Yeah. And he's over Tim Stewart, right? Like, he answers to Phil.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly how that structure is. Sometimes they're not like, lined up over top. One's over the top.
Right.
They might just both report up to Nadella. I don't know how that one goes, but But either way, like they did acknowledge, we heard from Satya himself saying he's not a huge fan of exclusives, but they understand that part of the business that they need to have certain amount for this part of the business, and the console still is greatly important and it's profitable. Like that's the thing. That's the one thing that I like. Forgetting like trying to dissect the words and figure out like how we can decipher what he meant. At the end of the day, like the Xbox console right now, especially with Game Pass being the center of the Game Pass universe, like in terms of the evangelists, the ones that are going to be promoting your service the most, the ones who are most familiar with all your IPs and everything like that. Like you're not. Phil's already said, like after Tim Stewart said kind of something similar before Bethesda closed, he comes out a few weeks later and says it's going to be everywhere Game Pass is. Right. And I do see a future, and this is like, without getting into all the details, probably piss people off, but it's because they wouldn't understand. I do see a future where these apps, the Xbox app, the PlayStation app, the Steam app, are going to be on everything. And there might even be a future depending on what happens in the EU right now, because they're now the walled garden thing is being brought to trial, that they might even have those taken down. And if they do, what's going to end up happening is you'll have a Game Pass app on available. You'll be able to download it off of PlayStation and basically stream games there, and probably vice versa. Probably you're gonna have a PlayStation app on Xbox, and you're gonna be able to stream your games there.
What a world if that happens! Can you all imagine?
It's not that, and the thing is, it's not that far out. And what Microsoft would love to be able to throw Game Pass in there, but they're not going to be able to, like, logistically, it's impossible for them to move all the all the first party games that exist, port all that stuff over there, get all the third parties to buy in. But if you get them to have these agreements, when they're setting up these Game Pass deals, that, hey, wherever this app is, you're agreeing that you're going to put it on our service,
right?
And it doesn't matter where it shows up, and they have, right, because anything that's on the cloud basically means that it's going to go anywhere that you got the app, and that includes your phones today. So end of the day, that's what I think he's talking about, and I do think it's more realistic than people think. And if it does happen, the gaming enthusiasts still want to play things locally, so it's really not going to change a whole lot between you, me, and everybody else. Like, we're still going to want to download our games, and if you are somebody that really loves Game Pass, you're going to want to either have an Xbox or PC, most likely. But this is going to be a way to expand. And I do think Microsoft really is looking at that stuff, especially with the EU stuff, and they're trying to break down the Apple Store and everything else.
Right.
They want to, they're working on that mobile app, and that mobile app is not just about phones, in my opinion. I think it's really about having, a store that they can, put anywhere. And at the end of the day, if it's going to help us who like playing on our Xbox or like playing on our PC to get more games on the service, because there's just more people engaged and giving them money, I mean, to me, it's all a win-win, and it doesn't really end the console, but it is, I think, in time, the meaning of the consoles are going to change. So,
you think we'll ever get to this unified console future where it's just the Play X 2020 or something?
Think about this, though. You got the ROG Ally, right? Like, ROG Ally is basically like a console. It's kind of like a hybrid in a lot of ways.
Right.
And it's a tip of the iceberg, because over time, like, these apps are going to get better. They're going to streamline these things better. And eventually, we know Sony's going to go to the PC too. I mean, they're already going to put
doing so now.
Yeah. They're already going to put all their gas stuff probably day and date.
Yeah. And
then you're going to have, their first party stuff right now is delayed, but at some point they're probably going to have all that day and date. And we know that they're working on PC stuff. So I think that what's to stop ROG from having a ROG console that has the Steam app, the Xbox app, and the PlayStation app? Now, whether that'll sell, whether people will actually go for it, I don't know. But there's nothing from a technology standpoint. There's nothing stopping that somebody from just coming out with a device that sits under your TV, and that just like there's nothing stopping them from putting out the Lenovo and ROG Ally. So I think any of that stuff is very, very possible in the near future.
Yeah. Well, hey, there you go with that. And so, Boom, what about you, brother? With this whole situation, what would you say? Where will Game Pass grow in your opinion? Do you think it'll stay, or Microsoft and Xbox will stay as a publisher, or will they move to third party? And if they
It's
did,
not. Yeah,
it's not happening,
yeah.
right? It's not
No,
happening.
and I'm going to tell you why it's not going to happen, because Sony will not allow it on their service, because what it would ultimately do is make Sony's service look even more shitty than it is.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not going to allow it. Like, the only way it's going to get on there is if the government, like the EU, forces it.
And I don't think that's going to happen. I honestly don't think that's going to happen. It's an Xbox business. I think the closed wall. I think it's your decision. But for the government to force you to allow for your competitor to be on your platform, I think that would be a disaster across the board. And I wouldn't sell in Europe. I would just say, okay, so we're not going to sell in Europe anymore. I'm sorry, because that's crazy. I don't think that's gonna. I think they don't want it on their platform. They're a competing platform. Xbox putting Xbox Game Pass day-and-day games on their service when they don't. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a disaster for Sony.
Yeah.
Nintendo wants no part of it, because Nintendo is doing their own thing. They released 14 games this year. They don't need no one else's games. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So. It's never Game Pass is going to live, and it's going to live well on PC and Xbox, and that's all it's going to need. And by this time next year, it's probably going to be upwards of 50 million subscribers easily, because Call of Duty next year is going to be in Game Pass day and date.
Yep, that's going to be a killer app right there.
That's Call of Duty, and then you're going to have Battle.net. You can't forget about that either.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to drive PC. The PC growth potential is kind of crazy, and it's going to be good for anybody that's on console too. And
we already seeing, like, they just added Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 to GeoForce, so they're really expanding when it comes to everything already. Mr. Inferno, my brother, he says Inferno Games. He says, I thought Xbox games were trash. Why would they want them? That's the beautiful thing. Our Who brothers can't keep a narrative straight to save their lives. It's one week it's a monopoly. The next is like Xbox is going to be a third party publisher. Which, make up your mind. Which one is it? They don't know they don't know which way to go. I mean, but can you blame them? So many good things are happening on the Xbox side of things when they did their absolute best to trash it and wish it out of existence. And they don't know which way to go now. They're a little discombobulated. But so we had one last super chat from Bold Alpha Wolfpack. He drops a generous $4.99. Donation. He says some folks have been saying it could be an acquisition announcement at the VGA for Xbox. What do you think about it at the odds of that, Daniel McG?
I mean, I think that they almost certainly have acquisitions coming in near future.
Mm-hmm.
Probably smaller ones. Like, I think that they'll do maybe like another wave of like separate studios. I don't see them doing that at the Game Awards, because I think the people who would be in the audience of the Game Awards would probably boo that.
No, you're right.
Full stop. I think that's probably what would happen, is they would not feel good about that.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't expect it. Especially he had another comment afterwards where he was like, "What about Bandai Namco?" It definitely wouldn't be something as big as that if it did show up at the Game Awards, because they would, for things that are over a certain threshold of price, they have to announce like an intent to buy it beforehand.
Right.
That's what we saw with ZeniMax and with Activision Blizzard, obviously. So that's just not something that you would announce at a showcase that's not your own. I could see maybe, like, I don't even know that they would do it at Developer Direct, honestly. I think that might be something that they, if it's smaller studios and they want to make an announcement out of it, that might be something that they hold off until like June and do it at their own proper, like, not E3 showcase.
Okay.
I don't know. I think if they are going straight for another publisher and they're not like put off at all by how much of a pain in the ass it was to get ABK across the line, we could see them announce an intent to acquire something like early in the year, just to get it started, just to get that ball moving.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's more likely that we see them hold off until June and then announce acquisitions that they maybe already made.
Right.
I would not be surprised if like insiders already know about one or two acquisitions that may have already happened.
Look at all the stuff with Embracer. Like that stuff's got to be ripe for the pickings right now. You just saw the the 5 games that landed in Game Pass from Embracer Group. So maybe now's a good time. Now they got ABK closed. Now's a good time to go talk about
there is something going on with them. There's no doubt about it, and it's going to probably be the center of it is going to be Eidos and Crystal.
Yeah. I mean, those 2 studios are really important to like. If I were to like try to pin down like what like I mean obviously like and you know Boom, like me and Neverborn we're on the Sega bandwagon. I think you are too, but I don't think that's something like that's going to happen in 2024. But like Crystal and Eidos right now both play really, really important roles in Perfect Dark and in Fable, and I think that alone is a good enough reason why you just want to like lock down that talent if you're happy with the contributions. Because in terms of like Perfect Dark, from what I understand, Crystal is doing almost all the, you know, you talk about the actual, you know, the grunt work, the actual developing, putting everything together. It's basically all them right now. Like in the initiative is basically just overseeing it. They're not necessarily involved in like coding and whatever, you know, building out the world and characters and all that stuff. So
right.
I think if they're high on Perfect Dark, you lock up Crystal now.
Yeah, Crystal Dynamics to me should have happened alone. I think we all speculated on that, and it's more and more starting to look like Embracer is about to go out of business.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, before you say that, by the way, Embracer, all these games that we saw coming to Game Pass like that, I didn't notice it until our brother Fuzzy Belvedere pointed it out on a tweet, and he was like, all of these are Embracer-led games like that you know they own, the studios they own.
Yep.
So I wonder how cozy they're getting to Microsoft.
They're
I
looking
wonder.
for money, and Microsoft got money.
So. No, Lars is very good friends with Phil.
Yeah,
they're very good friends. So there's more to it.
Well, even better than for them to, you know, it sure would be a shame if you allowed Tomb Raider to go into obscurity. You know, get that out of their hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do genuinely think this has been my like whack job theory for years now. I think literally years now. One of the first Game Pass ads that they had it was Master Chief, it was Kate, it was Lara Croft, and it was Batman, and like those were the 4 characters that were on their Game Pass ad. And then I think there was an expanded version that had like a Forza car. I was like, all right. I genuinely think that it was at one point their intention to get the WB Studios and Crystal Dynamics, and I think that that's probably still on the table. Like we're looking at a situation right now where I think it's almost likely that because they're already working on projects for Microsoft, that if Embracer is in like deep water, like it seems like they are, that they would buy Eidos and especially Crystal just to keep those projects going. So I think if it ever looks like those 2 studios might be shut down by Embracer, they would for sure 100% buy those away from them. I would be shocked to see it go otherwise. Yeah. And then WB, again, like we're hearing all these rumors of them like maybe not wanting to make the games themselves. And I think that there's, you know, again, there's always been this conversation about like, are those studios worth it if you don't get the IP? And I cannot stress enough how like there are so many different ways that they could get the IP out of it. Yeah. Whether it is just a long-term partnership of like we want to have first rights of refusal for these things, or just we want to have the rights to do it. You can make other DC games other places, but we want to have the rights to do them as well. Yeah. Or even just like we just want to buy the video game rights to certain characters, right? Like there's so many different ways that this could work out for them. I think that the most likely way for WB, and this is a separate conversation at this point, but I think the most likely route for WB is that they buy the studios and then they make that deal with James Gunn or whoever, who has been saying like we want to make games that are canon to the DCU. Yeah. And they're like, well, we know how to make games like really well. We're really good at it actually. Right. And we can take the worry of like them failing off your plate, and you can just focus on the things that consistently make money for you. Beautiful. Because frankly, WB is not good at getting games out, and we're seeing them make all the same mistakes that a lot of other teams have been making.
Oh,
like making this big
little do you know,
service and then dropping the ball. Yeah.
Little do you know. Speaking of live service and WB, I can't speak on it because of the NDA. But
you got an NDA?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And it's not good.
It's not.
It's not good. It's fine.
I won't say anything, but it's exactly what I feared it would be. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Are you guys talking about the Crackdown clone? I'm never right.
Yeah. More like the Fortnite clone, if anything. But
I don't know what we're talking about.
Right.
I feel very unincluded.
Yes, I can't say much more than that. They'll send somebody after me. But We had another super chat, unfortunately, by Mr. Bushido N7. Why is he here again? I don't know. He donated $5 generously. This show, I guess I'll read it. This show isn't as mid as usual, thanks to Boom and One Bad Mama Jamma.
Thanks.
So
happy to help.
He had to.
We're happy to help. Yeah, we're happy to help Umbra wherever we can.
He just tried to tear me down. That's jealousy. That's all it is. That's all it is. Jealousy. I get it.
It's getting back it's getting back for Halo night or whatever.
Yeah. Next time I get you in Halo, I'm teabagging you to hell. But yeah. So listen, folks. This is the end of the show for us. We got to get out of here. Thank you all for being here. If you have not done so, please hit the like button for us. And if you're not subscribed to us, take the time to do so. Yeah, get subscribed to us. We're worthwhile, and we've had some really great shows too, with and without guests. And tonight we were fortunate enough to be blessed by two great ones in the community. Boom. Speaking of, thank you, brother, for joining us. It's been a long time coming. I hadn't really pushed the envelope, to be fair. I kind of like said it, and then it was like,
no, you were very fair. I wanted to make sure that I did actually get myself on here, and I'm glad I did. It was a lot of fun, a lot of really big topics, a lot of breaking news.
Yeah.
Listen, I think everybody knows who I am in the chat. If you want to follow me on X or Twitter at Mr. Boomstick XL, and of course, if you want to check out the channel, we are near 14,000 subscribers, and you can find us on Double Barrel Gaming on YouTube.
Yes, sir. And if you're not subscribed to Boom, I don't know what you guys are doing. Boom is one of the best. Absolutely. I don't think you get enough of the credit and flowers you deserve. I think you got, honestly, I'm being honest, the more I see it, I think you kind of set the template for what a lot of people are doing now with multiple shows. A lot of people are doing it now. So
listen, I'm glad to help. A lot of people I introduced into the community, and it's an honor. It's paying it forward. That's what it's supposed to be about. The old saying that my pop, raised us with is treat others how you want to be treated. So you go out there and you put your best foot forward, and you put your hand out to help people up. That's what you're supposed to do. And I'm seeing more and more people do it. And the template for the multiple shows, it's just determination. That's all it really comes down to. If you want to do this, it's here for you to do. Even if you only have one person subscribed, as long as you're enjoying doing what you're doing, then you're doing the right thing.
As long as it's not Bushido. If he's the only one subscribed to you, you messed up somewhere. Yeah, you went wrong somewhere. You need to erase him off your friends list or your follower list. But other than that, yeah, thank you guys. I see you. Thank you for the kind words in the chat. Boom, yeah, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming through. And I know it's like you said, it's really your time along with the missus. Like you all don't get a chance to really kick it as you can because she's working and you're doing your thing too. So I appreciate you making time for us.
No problem, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, and our other great guest who's been here with us before, One Bad Mother, OBM, brother. Thank you for joining us. Where can the folks find you?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Umbra, for reaching out and thinking about me. And I know we talked in the past before, and about some other shows, and just schedule can be a little wild sometimes. Life. But it's great to see you and Daniel again, and boom, it's been a few weeks, man. So it's nice to hear you too, and get caught up. And there's a lot of stuff we got to get caught up on these days. But yeah, it was great being here with you guys. If you want to find me on Twitter, mother_1 MUTHA_ONE. I've been saying for a while that I was going to start up the.
I was just about to ask you about that.
Yeah, and the goal was before the end of the year, so I got a few weeks.
You got a little time left, yeah.
Initially it was going to be earlier, but I think the thing that I've observed with a lot of my friends in the community is that if you really want to gain some traction, you got to be consistent, especially early. So I didn't want to do the start-stop thing. Holidays, I can get some momentum going. So keep a lookout. Follow me on Twitter, and I will tell you when I have something.
All right. So Danny, my brother, my co-host, tell the good people where they can find you, what you will be up to.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Daniel J. McG or at my personal YouTube channel of Daniel McG. I just recorded last night a conversation with a friend of the show, Agent Deli, talking about AI and video games.
Nice. Shout out to
what
Deli.
that conversation means going forward.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really great conversation. I'm just editing it down a little bit, and then we'll stick it right on up there. This was pause. Should be great. Should be great. You come on back. Should be up, I think, tomorrow.
That's going to be an interesting one. I definitely look forward to listening to it. But Daniel, I thought, I've been told that there's 3 things you don't talk about in podcasts. You don't talk about religion, politics, or AI. So,
well, I thought you were going to say the third one was shoving them up there, but that's fine. That's my mistake to make. But yeah, no, I did a search for it on YouTube because I wanted to see like what the talking points were of, specifically generative AI in video games, and it seems like just kind of not a lot of people are talking about it. And so I thought, the best person I know to talk about it is Deli. He's a dev. He's worked at a bunch of different studios, and he had a lot of really good information on it. So
definitely,
it's definitely worthwhile watch when I put it up, hopefully tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Deli is very very knowledgeable, so I'm sure that's a great conversation. Yeah, and
he was on camera. I've never seen the man before.
Oh yeah, okay, nice. You got on camera with him. Okay, yeah, he's he posts his images and stuff sometimes on Twitter.
Yeah, he's on Twitter.
Yeah, he met up with Neo GameSpark, and Neo is so tall over him because Neo's like what 6'6" or something like that. So he just towering over him. He looks like a little child compared to him. But yeah. Shout out to Deli though. That's our brother right there. We've had him on a few times, twice I believe. But man, chat. Thank you guys again.
He said he'd love to come back on the show, by the way.
He's always welcome. He's always welcome. I'll reach out to him again soon. Because I still have to fill out the guests because I got to figure out how we want to approach the 7th next week. I don't know if we want to try to do the live stream of the events that's going on. I don't know. We might have to miss that week. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how to approach it.
I don't know what the timing on the Game Awards is.
I think it starts before we start. I think it starts an hour before us.
I would hope so, because that shit's like 4 hours long.
Yeah, it is kind of long. That's right. That's true. And I don't intend to cover all of that. So
no.
Yeah. If only it could have aired earlier.
If we're not making content about it, I don't think I'll watch it.
I don't know. Yeah.
So
that's what I'm wondering. I just want to see the trailers. That's all I care about. So Yodani says, what does Jazz know? I want to know too, Yodani. Jazz just posted, by the way, if you all didn't see it. He says how did he word it? He says I am very much looking forward to the Game Awards this year. That's what he just texted out.
Because there's probably a new Warcraft skin.
You think so?
New $70 skin for Diablo.
Oh, with beans. He got beans in it or something. If that man is hyping up some type of skin, I'm going to be upset.
Well, I think it's the same thing that Jeff's been teasing out, because he was like, "Oh, I just finished a final edit of a trailer for whatever, super exciting," and then Jess commented back like a winking face, and was like, So, I don't know, could be something big.
So for our guests, you can find their links and everything like that in the description. We got to get out of here, folks. Much love to you all. You all have a great weekend. Come by the Xbox Infinite, of course. You'll find me there. Infinite Umbra Infinite. You'll find me on Twitter X. And we'll get out of here. We'll get out of you guys' way. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
So long.